Yeah, what is this thing that we are calling data? In any way that you could explain. And let's not fear speaking. Let me get to Lucy Kamau. You could tell us what data is.
Okay, greetings everyone. Yes, as you've heard, my name is Lucy Kamau. To my understanding, and data is, let's say, information that you collect that is able to give you insight of our matter, and that can be used to make maybe business decision, or can be used to make any type of decision. And to be as simple as how many people are in this meeting, that is information. And how is that now going to be analyzed? How is that helping us to make a business decision? Maybe for Boniface, just the way he has said, he needs to record for people who maybe need to listen later. So that has helped him understand that they also like those information. Just generally, that's what I understand by data. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Of course, you've also just brought in an element that the number of people who are in this meeting, but that is data. And again, you might want to go deep and say maybe what are what is the number of maybe the males, what is the number of the female, right? And what is the number of maybe university students, what is the number of people who are from what the corporate side, right? Yeah, so that is data, and probably when you are signing up for this webinar, there are some information that you were asked, and so what was being collected was data, right? Yeah. Any other person who might want to give another example of data, or maybe another definition of data? But of course, it's just a collection of numbers. You could say collection of facts, observations, descriptions, right? But that you use to generate information. But again, this information, you're going to use it to maybe make some sort of decision, right? You don't just have the data and then stop at that point. I've seen a hand from Hillary. Yes, Hillary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Hillary, a student from Kenyatta University. So data is I can say is raw facts that are unprocessed, without any meaning. They have no meaning. They have no context until you do some interpretation. Then you get information from them, useful information. Yeah, that's how I understand data.
Yeah, raw facts, or maybe it doesn't have any meaning. Yes, I've seen a hand by file or file. Just a minute, but Hilary has mentioned something that it's something that doesn't have maybe meaning until you start maybe doing analysis on it, right? Probably yes. File. I don't know whether I call you file or file.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. The mere language, layman's language, data are raw basic facts that are yet to be manipulated.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, raw basic facts that are yet to be manipulated. Yes, Marianne.
Hi, so for me, sorry, let me just mute something here. Oh my God.
Just go ahead, we'll filter. Data analysts also are able to filter information.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
You can get me. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to contribute and say that I think data is things that we assume are facts, things that we think are facts, unless they there's something that is done to them to make us understand why that those numbers are there. So for me, it's the things that we assume are their facts, and they make our basis for reasoning. We need to reason with what is brought to us. Thank you.
Yeah, that takes it a level higher. Yeah, which makes sense. But all the contributions that we've given out definitely are correct. We might assume them. We know them as raw facts. We know them as maybe collection of numbers, right? But what are some of the examples of data that you know of? Yeah, because now maybe you've spoken about them abstractly and also looked at just one example that maybe Lucy Kamau gave of the people that are in this meeting, which you expounded and just looked at it in terms of what are the number of males, females, etc. Yeah, you look at maybe nowadays, as I give one example and maybe somebody gives the next, you look at nowadays, people have these smartwatches, right? Or even in your phone, on your phone, you have an app that can detect maybe the number of steps that you have made, because people do track some key informations within maybe their life. So some of them could be, what is my heart rate? So if you're sleeping, you're going to sleep with the wearables, right? So that you might want to track maybe your heart rate. You may want to track maybe your blood sugar level, right? You may want to track. So if you keep that track of information for maybe even a week, yeah, you are able to analyze and see maybe this week, on Wednesday, I walked maybe for this number of steps, which of course translates to certain kilometers. If the app is able to do. Maybe Thursday, I walked only for 10. I walked only 10 steps. Probably you were in the house and quite held up. The only movement you are making is going to pick maybe a juice from the fridge, right? Or maybe you're going to sleep, right? Yeah, so there are those tools that nowadays are there to aid even data collection, right? So those are just the simplest kind of data that we might need to look at. Another example that you could maybe be speaking about is maybe what you could keep a track of what you're eating per day, right? And that informs you that today I don't want to eat maybe ugali mayai, right, for the bachelors, right? So today I don't want to do that because for the past 5 days I've been eating that. Yeah. So Leo, I might need to change to something else. Another thing could be like you keep track of at what time you always wake up, yeah, and maybe what informs why you are waking up at that time. You look at maybe the tasks that you have for the following day. It's very voluminous, and so you decide that okay, today my alarm is not going to kulia at maybe 9 a.m. Let me put it ianze kulia at 4 or 5, right? So there are those decisions that you now make based on data that you have. Yeah, but what could be some of the some more examples that you people have about data? I've given just basic ones before I get to even like the country's data. There's a data that was released. Was it the day before yesterday? And it was talking about the new rates of HIV infection, right? Who saw that data? Did you see the data? Sorry. Ama we are not on social media. Yeah. I hope we saw maybe that kind of data, and also you could also see the inflation index right now, which was also released most recently. I hope we saw the same. Any other examples that we have? Let me see from who. The people on my screen have spoken. Let me check from Lewis Gatimu. After Lewis Gatimu, we go to Matthew Nduva and then Mbithi Marion. Lewis, go ahead.
So, good morning, everyone. Boniface, the question was on types of data or
examples of data, not types. Any data that you,
data.
yeah.
We can have data in form of text, in form of numbers.
Okay.
Or you are meaning data in terms of ordinal data or?
No, that is, okay. So I gave an example that if the new HIV infection rates that was released, that is data, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense.
Oh, we can have mortality rate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lewis is mentioning about mortality rates. Yeah, there are various data on maybe child mortality, right? Infant mortality rates, by the way. So you could track that information. For those who are in the health space, you could track that information for maybe quite a number of years, right? So maybe you start from 2015, you're going up to maybe 20, we are currently in 2024. So you want to see, is this thing increasing or decreasing, right? Depending on the measures that the government has always been putting in place to reduce or maybe to curb that. Are we seeing any impact of the interventions that the government is doing? Yeah, there is infant mortality rate, which is something that is also being tracked even by the government. The government also tracks the number of accidents that happens, and by at the end of the year, they tell you that maybe people that passed away due to accident was maybe 3,000, right? Compared to maybe 2023, it was maybe 4,000. So we are seeing maybe a reduction in the number of mortality rates, or maybe resulting from accidents. Yeah. Any other examples that we have, Mbithi?
Example of data, is that what you mean?
Yes. Any data that you are also even tracking about yourself?
Expenses.
Yeah, what elements of expenses are you always tracking? Just to explain a little bit more. Sorry?
Like the amount of money that I spend daily or on the normal activities. Then by the end of the month, I should be able to know where I overspend or how to manage my finances. So it's from that data I can be able now to make the right decisions on this one I should reduce, or this one I can maybe make these adjustments or something of that sort.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah, we need to be tracking our expenses so that you know where your money is going, right? So is it that maybe you are spending too much on dundaing or something? There's a term called dundaing that was used in some couple of years back. But yeah, are you spending so much on going out to rave, going out to maybe just generally going out to the parks, wherever it is that you can go out? Are you spending so much on maybe alcohol, county, right? Or are you spending so much? So what is the specific thing that is taking away your money, right? So you look at that expenses, but again, within the expenses, you first need to know, like, where am I getting my money? So you also track the revenue. So you did maybe a gig here and there, pesa ikaingia, you got it from your salary, you got it from maybe somebody remitted alikupea 1,000 for being a good person, right? Yeah, and then you track that as revenue. Yeah, so you add them into the list of the monies that are coming in, and then there are also lists of money that are going out. You're helping people out. Umesaidia mtoto hapo, umemtumia like maybe 1,000, umemtumia 2,000. You track that and even add the specific date that you sent that, right? So that is more or less like tracking the money that you have. And so, Tobias, your mic is on. Okay, yeah. So so that is data, and then now we get into conversation around business data, right? So what we call business intelligence. From there, then we now introduce Power BI, right? So what is this thing that we are also maybe calling business intelligence? And then from business intelligence, then we'll have people that we call business analysts. To be specific, maybe business data analyst, right? So when we talk about business intelligence, now I'm seeing in my notes I also scribbled some data here. But before that, I'm seeing life expectancy as one of the examples of data. That is from Stella Mudhoni, life expectancy. Yes, Francis Omare. Is it Omare? Yeah. Your hand is up. Or it was a mistake. Okay. Yeah. So we're talking about business intelligence, or maybe business business data. So what is this thing we call business intelligence? And then we look at some of the sectors, or maybe the sectors that track also their data. Yeah, you probably heard of something called business intelligence, BI. This webinar is about business data analytics. Now we talk about business intelligence. Yes, Francis.
I think business intelligence is the use of data in businesses so that it can help the businesses make decisions about maybe their expenses, their profits, maybe their investments also.
Okay, yeah. I'll get that. Anybody else with another explanation on the same? I'm seeing Charles Wanjehi.
Yes, Boniface, and good morning, all. So I think business intelligence for me is I would express it as learnings that a business maybe would have gotten from analyzing data for a period of time in regards maybe to either the expenses, profits, market penetration, and all that maybe. I would speak of it as that.
Yeah, the learnings, so the decisions, or maybe what is the outcome of whatever the businesses have been doing on the ground. Yeah, I mean, when they look at the data that they have. But of course, this just, it combines the tools that these businesses are using to store the data. And even before storage, there's data collection. So there's a combination of tools that businesses are using to just collect, and then there's storage, and then there's management of that data. And once we are done with that, there's also now analyzing that data, right? After the analysis of that data, then now we are making decisions, which Charles was also talking about, that what are the learnings that comes out of all these, right? So there's a process that we are following. We are starting from maybe that data collection. Yeah, because data is not data until maybe you collect it, right? So that it stops living in your mind, it lives somewhere. So you collect it. So there are various tools that you use to collect the data. And specifically for businesses, they are what we call ERP systems, right? Enterprise resource planning systems that are used to collect data. Yeah. So they are just they are applications that you use for the same. For example, where I work, and of course, even with Charles Johi, is there is an ERP called Dukare that we use to collect data. So when the sales representatives are going on the ground, they key in whatever they have sold, right? So that data is collected by that ERP system. Yeah. There's also another ERP called So if you look up, there's Dukare, you look at another one called Retail Field Metrics, which is RFM. So RFM is also another ERP system that we also use to collect data. You know about the company called Solutech. Solutech also has an ERP system that helps in also collection and also management of data. Yeah. So businesses could use those tools to first get that data, the ERP system, and then once that is done, they now look at where are we going to store this data. Maybe we have a database. So a database could be like a structured query database, or you just store it in Excel, right? So your Excel could be your database, where you are you could design a database in Excel where you just store that data, right? So storage now will depend from company to company. There are those who will store it in a SQL database. For example, Safaricom, of course, you'll find them using SQL because they have millions of records of people, and those records cannot be stored in Excel because Excel has a limit of 1,048,000 rows, right? So that is really little for for the kind of information that Safaricom has, right? Or you go to even KCB, go to Equity, and go to other multinational or maybe big corporations, or even NGOs. Their data that they have to store, but then it's stored in Excel. But if you find maybe not really Excel, sorry, SQL. But if you find maybe these small corporations that doesn't really transact quite a number of data, then they use, or you could just store it in Excel. Yeah. So that is data. That is business intelligence and even the tools that are there. Yeah. So into the specific tools that you know of business intelligence. I mean, so that helps people to analyze data. This business data that we're talking about. You could just shout an example, one example per person that is going to be speaking. And let me see somebody who hasn't spoken, and that is Magoi. See somebody called Magoi. Magoi, any tool that people use to analyze business data? You could unmute and say one.
I don't know for now. Yeah, I'm just a newbie in the data analytics. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You'll know in a minute. Yes, Matthew. Yes, Matthew. Matthew, you're on mute. Kennedy?
Oh, it's been written on the chat, Power BI.
Yeah, Power BI is one of them. Thank you. Matthew?
Tableau.
Yeah, there's Tableau. Tableau is also another tool. So for those noting down the tools, you could write there's Power BI, there's Tableau, or yeah, how Matthew also pronounced it, which is just okay. Eric Wahungu.
Yeah.
Yes, Eric? Eric is speaking on the mic. Maybe you could mute, that is Matthew. I'm seeing on the chats, people writing quite a number of, there is, I'm seeing Excel. Yeah, Excel is also used to analyze business data. There's Python. Yeah, Python you could also use to analyze, to analyze business data. But there are those specific BI tools that we are talking about that includes, yeah, Python is very, very cool for analysis. There's a package, some packages there, the likes of Seaborns, the likes of Matplotlib, that helps you in analysis of data. NumPy too, in combination with other packages. There's Excel or Excel. Yeah, Excel is a tool that you need to start from. I always tell people that you start from Excel before you move to other tools, right? Because once you have a general understanding of how to do analysis in Excel, to what are the formulas that you could create, what are some of the manipulations that you could do with this tool that we're calling Excel, then you can translate that knowledge into other tools. For example, BI, Tableau, you find even Python, R, and the SQLs that you are talking about. Yeah, so Excel is a good one. There's also ClickSense that Francis has mentioned, R software for statistical data analysis, Eric Wahungu, Excel, Matthew Nduva, Google Sheets. Yeah, there's Google Sheets and also there is Excel. The difference isn't really very huge because Google Sheets is an online version of Excel. Yeah, but they differ in some few things. For example, if there's a day I was trying to use a formula called what? There's a formula called unique. Yeah, that you might not find maybe in some versions of Excel, but you find them in Google Sheets or maybe Office 365, right? Yeah. Other tools, I'm seeing Hilary mentioning SPSS, which is statistical package for social sciences. Yes. Yeah. Okay. There is also Eric Wangu asking about R. Stat. I believe you wanted to say Starter. Then there is SAS, which is this software as a service. Yeah, SAS is also one of the tools that you could use for that. But if we talk about specific BI tools, I will leave R and leave SPSS, and I will also leave Python. They're used for general data analytics, right? But now when you want to go to somebody, even Python also is used, but in terms of maybe building other things like maybe dashboards and to view all that in a dashboard or maybe in a report, these other tools will really not do the same, right? Because mostly for business data or maybe for business data, you want to view it in some sort of dashboards and everything, right? So that it's, yeah. But I'll give also other examples like Looker Studio. So if you've heard of what we call Looker Studio, let me type it there. There's Looker Studio. There's also even what ClickSense had been mentioned. Zoho also introduced something, which is the Zoho Analytics. Google also has a Google Data Studio, which is not very far away from what we have with the Power BI. Not really so far away. Yeah, there's SAS. There's quite a number of business intelligence tools. So if you mention business intelligence tools, you leave out Power BI, you leave out SPSS, you leave out even R. Yeah. So that gets us to Power BI. Yeah, I'm seeing a question by Francis Omari asking that which ones are open source. Now, that's a good question. I'll give general tools that I've interacted with that are open source. There's R, which is open source. I'm mentioning the tools that we've talked about here. R is open source. There is what else? SQL is open source, but that is if you're using the MySQL, MySQL Workbench, and MySQL is open source. Another one that is open source is Power BI. So Power BI has two versions, which I need to talk about later, but we'll just mention that Power BI Desktop is open source. Then there is also Power BI Service, which has a free version, but then there is also a pro version, right? Matthew is asking that he's unable to download Nini. Somebody to share the link that was shared in the group. You could just go to WhatsApp and paste it in the group so that Matthew finds it. Yeah, but I was mentioning that Power BI is open source. You could use it anywhere, put it on your desktop, move around with it. But when you go to something like Tableau, Tableau isn't really open source. Yeah, there's if you download it, it will require you to pay some premium so that you. Oh yeah, somebody's asking what you mean by open source. Open source is that you don't pay anything for it. Yeah, open source means you can download it and just work with it without making some payments. So you can the same way you people downloaded Power BI, you have it in your desktop, you did not pay anything, right? But you get to something like what we're talking about Tableau, you want to use it, they will ask you for to pay. But there is a free trial period of about 14 days. You could build with it, but then when the 14 days elapses, you're not able to use it, right? Unless you pay. Yeah, so that is the same thing that happens with other tools. There are some like SAS, software as a service, that you use for some period, and then now you're asked to Nini. For you to access maybe other features, then you pay. What else? Python. Yeah, Python is open source, has various versions or maybe various IDEs that you could use. That is integrated development environments. You use maybe something like Anaconda. You use something like even PyCharm. PyCharm is free, and several other IDEs. You could also use the Google Colab, which is also free. Yeah, so when settling for maybe these tools, you could look at the one that is open source and then try to use those ones. If your company has paid for maybe Tableau, yeah, go ahead and use it. Yeah, I think that answers the questions on the ones that are free and the ones that are not free. Unless there's any question up to this point before we jump into Power BI. Any question? Yes. Checking the comment. There's no question. Yes. So let's talk about this thing that we are calling Power BI, and for the sake of ensuring that you know where to get it, for those who haven't downloaded, let me share my screen and tell you where to go. And Power BI is a tool that is developed by Microsoft, right? Microsoft is the developer of this. Microsoft BI. So this is what we call Power BI, a very interacting or maybe interactive tool that you may want to know. So there's download, and there's desktop, and then you see here there is now what we call pricing. So what I was mentioning is Power BI has some versions. So there's a version where you need to pay, but that is if you want to access if you want to have additional features. But that one is on the Power BI service part. So Power BI has two ends. There's Power BI desktop, and then there's Power BI service. So with Power BI service, you can also build visuals online. But with Power BI desktop, you can work remotely. Yeah. So if you see this thing talking to us about pricing, then it is the Power BI service. Yeah. So if you want to download, you just come here and click maybe Power BI data visualization, and then where do we get it? Let me go back and click here on download, and then yeah. So download Power BI desktop. Yeah. Yeah. Are we here, right? So for those who haven't downloaded, if you go to pricing, you could see additional information that it has. There's a free version, hii unaweza tumia as long as you want. Then there's Power BI Pro, where you pay $10 per month. So there's also another end per user, sorry. So there's also Power BI Premium per user. Then there's Power BI Embedded. Yeah, so this one you pay $20 per month per user. Yeah, so that is the Power BI service. But again, you could even still use this one, but then we will see the limitations that are there. mostly in terms of sharing reports. Yeah. There's also another on Microsoft Fabric. You could look at what they have there. But I hope you have been able to download by clicking download Power BI Desktop. Somebody wants to speak? I don't know whose microphone is on, but they could mute. So let me go ahead and check my Power BI that I have. So you could just search here. So when you get to this point, just do a search Power BI. So you could see Power BI Desktop. Then once you're there, you can just click here. So let's give it some time to open, and it opened it. So you can also just fire up your Power BI so that we go practical. Yes, inakataa Gmails. Okay. I think it's here. So this one I've signed, of course, with the company that you're working with. So you might also need to have maybe a company email. Gmail inakataa, but you could just still work with it without that. Are you seeing this page? Once you click open.
Yes.
James is able to see that. Anybody else? Yes. Okay. Anybody who is not at this point? Yes, James. You can use school email if you have. Ian is saying that you can use a school email if you have, and so on. Yeah, but I don't think it's really. We'll see the necessity of that when we start talking about publishing. That is when you'll need this Kaskazi, not really Kaskazi. You'll need your company's email for you to download, to publish. Yeah, some flu here. So what you were saying, of course, Power BI, I've mentioned that it has two versions, so maybe two ends to it. It has the desktop, which now we are on, and then we'll see the online one. Yeah, so once you're here, you can see select a data source or start with a blank report, or maybe a blank report. There's blank report where you can get your data, one Lake Data Hub, there's Excel workbook, SQL, learn with sample data. Yeah, don't look at that. Let's go to maybe open. So if you see open, is if you have data sets that you've been working or maybe data that you've been working on, you can see quite a number of them that I've been working on. Unga, the Skin Beauty, Hako, assignment, Unga, HR, whatever, hotel, Clorox. Yeah, so there's a QTime dashboard, retail store. Yeah, so these ones are maybe data sets that have been on. Yeah, so you can click here on home. You can click here on home, and then you can see blank report. So you can click blank report. Just click blank report. Let me know if you can see something like this. Let me view recovered files. Okay. Are you able to? Are you at this point? Anybody who is not at this point, you can put up your hand. Lucy. If you're not at this point, you just click Nini, you just do a thumbs down. But I'm seeing quite a number of us out there. Let me see, Matthew, are you able to install the desktop? That is Matthew Nduva.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're able to, then let me just go to something else, and that is introduce this thing that file is asking how we got there. How do we get there? So where are you, file? You can just mention to us where you are. You did not also tell me how to pronounce your name. So I'll say file. You can unmute and mention. Okay. File is not speaking. But if you are able to see ile part ya open and also home, you can just click on home and then I even don't know. Maybe you can present your screen. We help you out so that we get together. Yeah, that might help. In a minute you can do that, and then we just tell you what to do. Actually, you'll be told by one of us. File present. Unless you're not using your laptop to attend the meeting. It's Miriam Akinyi that was.
I was trying to share where I'm stuck. Let me just do it in a minute. Do we have to open this through the laptop, or we can use the phone?
No, you open through laptop.
Okay, so.
Okay, yeah, via nini itakuwa kidogo tricky. Oh, okay, file is okay. File is saying that ako wapi? Something recent. Yeah, you can just click on home and then I'm gonna click here on open. So, let me see. Can you click on home, Nani? File on home and then click on new report. Yeah, I'm seeing up there is new report. Let's know if it's working. If you click new report. Has it worked? Oh, yeah, it worked. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So here is where we are. So what are some of the things that let me present? I'm seeing that you're not able to see. Somebody tried presenting. Resume presenting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you are able to see the screen, which I believe you should be. Yeah, so once you're here, let me add, once you're here, you're able to see this file. Yeah, these places where we were, file, save as, share, get data, import, export, and then there's now these things that we call the ribbons. There's a home ribbon, there's insert, yeah, insert here, there is shapes, image, buttons, text, text box, yeah, paginated report and all that. There's modeling, which you can also be able to see here, linguistic schema. There is also view, where you're able to edit how you want to see the pages to look like, slicers, performance analyzers, there's optimize, and then there's also help, right? Help, now here you can get to a Power BI community. If you click this, it will take you to Microsoft community. There's Power BI for developers. You could click also that, consulting services. So you'll try to You'll try to click these ones, and if you want to learn more, there's also even training videos here. Learn from Power BI experts on YouTube, guided learning. So that is more or less like help. But again, if you get to this point, you're also seeing visualizations on this other end. Are you able to see these ones? There's visualizations. So there's filter here. Yeah, there's a filter place. There's also a place for there's also a place for visualizations where you build your visuals, and then you can click through and see. There's also something for data. So this one is going to show you data that you have loaded. So you haven't loaded any data yet to get data or something, right? There's Copilot, which is an introduction recently AI. So to help you with even your analytics here and there. Then there's also share. So where you can share your data and even share your report. You can also manage the access. So if somebody wants to access your information or maybe your dashboard, you can manage that access. You click on the settings there, and then you'll be able to see. So upload your file to OneDrive to share it. So once you've done that, then you're going to give share options. You could also copy link to your dashboard, and so upload your file to OneDrive. Still, you're being told to upload to OneDrive so that you share it. So for the question, Eric Wahungu, that you are asking, that can you share your report from Power BI desktop? I hope it is answered. And that's why I drifted to that so that you see. Eric, are you answered? You can do a thumbs up if you're answered. Or it has another angle that you wanted. Yeah, yes, yeah. So in this case, you need to upload it to your OneDrive, right? And then I'll share it out. Please select more options to save your file to OneDrive. Now, what else are you seeing? If you look at this page, you're seeing import data from Excel, import data from SQL Server, paste data into a blank table, then use sample data. And then that is now what we'll say that Power BI solves quite a number of problems. And one of the problems that it is solving is that you are able to get data from numerous sources, right? How many sources do you think we can get data from? Just suggest a number. Any number of sources that you can get data from into Power BI. You can just type even a number there that you think. If it's 2 sources, if it's just 3 sources, that you can get it only from Excel and get it from SQL Server. So you say we can get it from 2 sources. I'm seeing Kennedy Mugo saying 3. Yeah, anybody else? Vanilla Dennis saying 10. James Nderitu is saying there's vast number of sources. Anybody else wants to say something? Ladies, mnakataa kuongea, si ndio? Ian Sure saying over 40, Eric Wahungu, many sources, Hilary Omae, a lot. So ladies, mmekataa to speak to us. Okay, yeah. Mariwa is saying over 10. Kimayo, quite a number. Yeah, anyway, all those responses, valid. It's not only these two, import data from Excel or maybe import data from SQL Server, or just maybe pasting data into a blank table that you can get the data from. If you go to this part written get data, you see if you hover around your cursor, it's telling you connect to data from multiple sources, right? So if you click this, you can see common data sources. It's telling you there is an Excel workbook, so where you can import data from Excel. So a workbook in Excel, you can do the same. Another one is Power BI semantic models. Yeah, there's also data flows. There's Dataverse, SQL Server, analysis services, text, CSV. There's also from the web. You can connect data from the web, from the website. if there's a data that is sitting on a certain web page, you could connect it to your Power BI, but of course it needs to be very organized, sitting in tables. Then there is OData Feed, BlackQuery. There is quite a lot of sources that you can get data from. If you click more, then you can see this, and then just scroll kwenda hivi chini. There's even Zoho Creator. So Kennedy Mugo, are you seeing the number of sources that you can get the data from? It's quite a lot. Yeah. And maybe those who are saying 5 or 10, who are thinking, so this is the whole list of places. You can even go and get it from, there's even now embedded Salesforce objects, Salesforce reports. There's data.world, get data sets there. Yeah. Any other one, there's Azure where you can, there's even SharePoint that you can get data from. Yeah, there's Azure Blob Storage. And there's also what? Denodo is there, Mario, there's too many. There's Vena. You can even get it from a blank query. So blank query, this means like you're going to be inputting data by yourself. Apart from that, you can get data from a file. Yeah, this is now just a simplification of what we had here as all. You can get it from a folder. If you have a folder on your desktop, you can connect it so that you'll be getting data from that folder. From PDF, Paraquet, or whatever. Azure, there's also Azure here where you can get online services. There are these ones. And even CRMs, like I've seen a CRM here. CRM is a customer relationship management, eWay, right? And then there's also other. SurveyMonkey. If you've been getting some questions from SurveyMonkey, yeah, you could also connect and get data from them. BlankQuery and all that. So that is places where you can get data. Do you have any question? Is somebody having a question? Yes, Emily.
The question is there a way that we can combine data from various sources into Power BI, maybe for comparison, or yeah, something, the comparison?
To combine data from various sources. More than just, say for example, you have data in one Excel document. You want to maybe have from 2 or 3 different Excel documents. Just as an example.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. We'll see. I'll tell you how to do that the same. Yeah, now let's get to the practical bit. Are we ready? If you're ready, yes, you just do a thumbs up. So there's a data that we sent in the group, right? The one that we called the avocado data. Yes, Beverly.
I was doing a thumbs up, sorry.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, so there's a data that we sent in the group. If you have downloaded it, try to locate where it is because you want to use it. Yeah, now let's click on get data. So if you click on get data, because it's an Excel workbook, right? We click here on Excel. Otherwise, if you don't want to click get data, you can just go direct to Excel workbook. So import data from Microsoft Excel workbook, right? So click on that and then go to where you have, sorry, I'm in a different folder. Go to where you had your data, and then I think it's somewhere here, and then it's avocado dataset. So I click maybe avocado dataset. It's telling me to please wait as we create a connection to avocado dataset. Yeah. Are we all having the data? I'm seeing a question there by Lucy. Somebody to forward that data that you sent. Just forward it back to the group. So kindly send us the data for those who didn't get the data. Yes. You can forward so that let me see if if I have it on my phone because I did not download it. But if somebody is able to sales data set. Yeah, Hillary has forwarded it. Lucy, so you're able to see. I want us to get to this point where we have navigator. Where we have here navigator. Are we all there? Yes, I'm seeing Stella. If you're not here, just put up your hand so that you, yeah. Yes, I hope we are all there. Yeah. So once you're here, so why is it that inatuambia kwamba it's named sheet 1? Yeah. I mean, this is not a problem. This is just a by the way. Let me go back to that, to the folder containing that data, and get that data somewhere here. Avocado. Yeah, so this is the data set. So it's imekuwa named sheet 1 because hapo unaona like our data, we have it in this workbook. It has sheet 1. So let me call it if I could have called it avocado data. When loading it here, inaniambia like avocado data. I mean, this is not a something to worry about. It's just by the way. This is the name of the workbook as it is here in your Excel. So we go back to this. So no item selected for preview. So once I click here, sheet 1, then you can see I have a preview, right? Are you seeing that? So I have a preview. If I do not click, if I hadn't clicked like the way we were before, haikuwa inatupea preview. But even right now, if I uncheck this box, you can see load transform data is unchecked. I mean, they are grayed out. There is nothing that you can do here. The only thing you can do is to cancel. But let me go back and click sheet 1. Then you're here at load, transform, and then cancel. Are we all at that point? Yes, Chasiba Emmanuel, it's being recorded. Yeah, but if I'm going in a hurry, you could also just tell me, because I understand that there are some people that are a little bit beginner level. Most of us definitely. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is where we are. So once you have clicked that, there's load, there's transform, but I don't want you to load it yet. Oh, okay. Steve Maina is saying I redo the process. Let me cancel and go back to, now we want to get data into our Power BI. So you click get data, but our data is sitting on an Excel workbook. We know it's an Excel data that we want to load here. So there's Excel workbook. Instead of using this, there's also even this one, Excel workbook, which you can click. But the other time I clicked Excel workbook, let me now click it from this command data source. So Excel workbook, and then I get it to avocado dataset, open. Yeah, it's coming sheet 1 because I did not save. See, click up. Let me click this. Click save, but it's taking a while. Let's just use this and then say sheet 1. So then preview is evaluating. The key did not match any rows in the data. Okay, it's because I've saved that. Let me go back and restart the whole process. It's because I've saved it again. Yeah, now you can see avocado data, right? Yeah, that's why it was not matching. Then column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, you're seeing all that. Then I want to click transform data. If you are very sure that your data is clean, right? If you are very sure that your data is completely clean, then you can click load. But our data is not fully clean, right? So we don't want to click load. We want to click transform. So there's a process that we have in Power BI that is called ETL. If you have heard about ETL, which is extract, transform, then load. What we have done right now is extraction. So we've gotten the data. ETL is just a name, but we've gotten the data extracted. Then there's T part, which is transform. So we go to transform data, and then there's load. So let's transform data. Click this one called transform data. You could see determining automatic transformations, and then it gets you something here that is called, you can see untitled Power Query Editor. We are at that point, right? So Power Query Editor. So this is what we call a Power Query Editor. So Power Query Editor is going to enable you to clean the data. So, and you can check quite a number of things here. So if you see this data, I hope yours has also uploaded this way, that our column headers are called column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, there's column 5, there's column 6, 7, then you're seeing some things like 1.2, right? So what this means, there's, sorry?
Hello? Okay.
Yes.
When I'm clicking on transform data, it's not click.
It's not clicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably because you did not click. Kuna kitu you did not click when you are at the navigator tab. So let me see how your tab is appearing. Just a minute. Can you click on that? Are you seeing where it is called sheet 1?
Yeah.
Click that box iko kando yake. Have you clicked the box? Yeah. So that kukuwe na tick. Yeah. Yeah. Now go to transform.
Okay.
So if you do not click it, then it won't. Okay. Yeah. So once you are here, so this is what now we call the Power Query Editor. It helps us to clean the data. Now let's pause a little bit and talk about data cleaning. What is this thing that we are calling data cleaning? Of course, from the name, it's cleaning data. But what are some of the things that you need to look out for when you're cleaning the data, right? Yeah, this is a one that deserves people to just shout out the answers. What are some of the things that you look at when cleaning data? Let me go to before Francis. Let me go to Hudson. Harry. What are some of the things to look at when cleaning data?
Yes, so when cleaning data, you might look at the inconsistencies.
Example of inconsistencies?
Maybe empty cells, duplicates. Yeah.
Okay, empty cells, duplicates, thank you. So you look at inconsistent data. Rosalia, see somebody, Rosalia, and if I pronounce it well. What are some of the things you look at when cleaning data? If you're on mute, you unmute. Before I give, let me hear from Stella. Stella, what are you looking at when cleaning data?
Data types. You check if each column has the correct data types.
Yeah, check if it has the correct data type. Who else? Mutai. What is something that you look at when cleaning data? Mutai, you're on mute. Mutai. Humphrey Nyakundi. If it were you, what will you be looking at? Humphrey Nyakundi.
Like I say,
Sorry?
I'll also check on. I'll look at those duplicates, some empty cells that are there, and equally, there are those that are not content with the type of data I have.
Okay. Yeah. Duplicates, type of data type. Yeah, makes sense. Who else? The last person. Beverly Atieno. Beverly, if you are to clean data, what will you be looking at?
I will look at data validation. I'll check at the data sets against the defined rules and check they are correctly done.
Okay.
I will, yeah.
Go ahead before nikukate.
Endelea tu.
Okay. I'm seeing hands up by Matthew. Yes, Matthew.
Yes, I could look for the outliers, misspellings, missing values, etc.
Outliers, misspellings. James Nderitu.
Okay, I would also look at the header names.
Or the header names.
Rename them to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All those that you've given, let me check the comment section. But all those answers are valid. Yes, Charles.
Yes, also check on the headings to ensure you have the correct heading so that when you're analyzing, you are clear on where you're analyzing.
Yes. Headings, your column headings has to be consistent. Lucy Kamau is saying format, Stella outliers, Charity duplicates, Lucy duplicates and empty cells, data type by column. Yes, those ones are valid. They are missing values, they're in irrelevant data. By there, you could also be having irrelevant data. It won't help you in the analysis. So let's look at them. Column Z2, you're seeing column name, column 1, column. But if you look at it closely, if you look at it closely, this one that is sitting on row number 1, it should be our column headings, right? Do we agree that? This one should be our headings. Yeah, so if you want to rename our columns, of course we could double click up and type, maybe call it a certain name, and maybe come here to column 2 and call it date, and maybe go to column number 3, but that is also going to take us a process. So the only thing we do is you can come here. So I've done it already, but no. So if we are here, just click, left click, and then there's this one that says use first row as headers. You click use first row as headers. So we have migrated it from upper chini, we've taken it up. Are we together? If yours has worked, if yours hasn't worked, you could just ask a question, but I believe it should be working. So on this corner, there is this table, something that looks like a table here. You click on it. Yes, Mbidi answered.
Kindly could you repeat on how to move the column? I missed that.
Yeah, so I am here. Yes, Mbidi, are you seeing this one?
Yes, I can see.
Click on it, left click.
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing this one written use first row as headers?
Oh yeah. Perfect, it has worked.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so you do that, then that works. So we have column 1 date, average, total volume, and then you look at other sides, you see small bags, large bags, year, and blah blah blah, and all that. Yes. Now another thing, we are talking about irrelevant data. There's some data that we might not use. Kama hii, this one is just for the index. So index 0, you're seeing index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, what is it really going to help us with as far as this analysis is concerned? Suppose you collected data and then it has emails of people. Yeah. So are you going to analyze the people's emails here? It might be necessary for you kufanya bulk emailing to send emails to people, telling them sign up for our programs, blah, 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 right? But for in this case, or maybe this BI, it is not going to really be impactful. So what we do is, if you select on this one, yeah, if you select this other one, you can select on this, right? Let me stop a certain music that is playing here. Yeah. So if you're here, you can see that you can select this column, you can select this, you can even select this one, right? What is okay? Sorry, there's a glitch on the internet. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Yeah, sorry. There's a glitch on the internet. Yeah, but I think it should be okay. I've rectified it. We are there for those asking whether we are there or not. I hope you are able to see where we were at this point, right? So what I was saying is, you could select this one, you could select, yeah. So because we don't want this column 1, then we can select it and right click, and it tells us to remove this column, right? Avast displaying, yeah. So we could select it and then remove. Have you been able to do that? Thumbs up. We want to move a little bit quick now. Okay, yeah, that has been done. But suppose you did that, but then that step.
Kindly repeat.
Sorry?
Kindly repeat. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Let me explain this and say that suppose you did that, but then you removed the column that you are not supposed to remove. So you've made a mistake, right? There's this part that is written applied steps. Are you seeing it? Applied steps. So it records everything that we've been able to do. We've done navigation, we've changed the data type. By the way, it changed the data type for us automatically. Avast free antivirus, okay. Yeah, so it changed the data types. We have done some renaming of columns. There's a column I tried to rename at some point here. Then we promoted headers. Promoted headers is when we used row 1 to be like the column headers. You remember that? Then once it did that, it automatically changed also the data types. Then another thing that we've done is we've removed columns. So we've removed column number, the first column. But if I made a mistake, I can come here and click this X and say X, and then it gets me back to where I was. So Centeo Kimau, here is where we were. So I can right click here and say remove. Are you there, Centeo? You can say remove. Remove this column. Yeah?
Got it.
Okay. Another thing that you can see here, before you remove it, you can see other examples that you can do. There's remove duplicates, there's replace errors. there's quite a lot that you could do, but we just want to mention a few because of time, so that we also don't need. Or you could change data type. Yeah, there are various kinds of data types. There are decimals, there are odd numbers, there are percentages, date and time. There's date, then there's time also, there's text data, there's booleans, there's binary, right? Yeah, so there's this quite number of data. You can rename a column, right? But instead of using this, you could just come here and double click, and then it renames for you, right? Now, let's go back to removing this column. If I wanted to remove the column, I come here and remove. What happens if I click remove other columns? Somebody to do that and tell me what happens. If you select one column and say remove other columns, what happens? Very fast. Yes, Stella. Yes, Stella.
All the other columns are removed and then you remain with the first column.
So you're remaining with the first column. Yeah. So if I right click here and then say remove other columns, I remove everything, I remain with this. But thank goodness you can do this so that you get it back, because this is the only devil in the room that you wanted to remove. So I right click and say remove. So I have removed that column. Yeah. You can also say you wanted to remove multiple columns. So you click this one. So if you click maybe the first column and press Control on your PC, CTRL, so you can mark maybe some columns that you want to remain. I want this to remain. I want this to remain. I may also maybe want this one to remain. Right. So once I'm there, you can see I have marked this column, this other column, and I've also marked this other one. So I can now right click and say remove other columns. Then I remain with the 3 columns that I marked. Yes, Achi.
I have missed on the part of returning back the removed columns. Kindly.
Yeah, so it's here. So I mentioned that this is applied steps. It tells us the steps that we've done. So if you have made a mistake, for example, right now I've made a mistake and removed other columns, think of it that way, then I can click this one. I can click this step so that I get the data back. Are we together, Achi? You can check here.
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So our data is now okay. We've removed that one column that we didn't want. For the purpose of just reviewing, it's this one. So I can right click and then remove. And then I'm here. So we are satisfied with that. Something that you should not do is to come and remove a step yenye iko hapa katikati. So removing these steps has to be progressive from the last one that you did. Right? You remove it from hapa katikati, from hapa mwisho, sorry. If you remove this one, there's an error that is going to tell you. If I try to remove it, it's telling me, are you sure you want to delete this step? Deleting this step may affect subsequent steps, which could cause your query to break. So I don't want that to be done, so I cancel it. Right? So that is what happens. So you go, if you want to remove something, start to kutoka hapa, go back. Unless there's any question, let me move to these things that you're seeing here. Ukiangalia hapa kuna something that looks like a calendar. So this one tells you the data type. So this one is a date. So this one's the date. So if it's a date, you'll see an icon here telling you data type. Yeah. If you look at this one, it's telling you 1.2. It's a decimal number, and you can see there is 1.02. This one's the same decimal. This one also decimal. This one decimal, and then we have this one, which is called the type. You can see it is ABC, which is a text, right? You can see it is a text kind of data. So if you want to change its data type, you could come here and say, maybe change now, say it's time, which is an error, of course, because this data type is not a time data type, right? So I can just undo that error and say, If you go back to this one here, it's number, which is just a whole number. If I want to see ABC region, if I change it to percentage, it's telling me that this is an error. That is not the data type. If I go back, yeah, I think the data is done. A question, I'm seeing Mariwa, your hand is up.
Sorry. Niliinua by mistake, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Something that you can notice, if I have an error, let's say I say this one is a change it to fixed decimal number. You can see if I have an error, I see it in a red line. I'm seeing this red line. But if my data is very okay, I see it with the green line, which is full. So now I have a green line. We are able to see that. If there's an error within our data, utaona some parts is red. So Power BI also gives you that leeway for you to clearly see if there's an issue with your data. Just looking at it one time, na ushaona, right? Let me see. Let me introduce a space here. Let me say maybe I delete these ones. Can I really delete them? I don't want to delete them because there's something that you should be seeing. If your data is, okay, let me, I thought if I had an empty space, it's only that this data is fully full. Yeah, but if I had maybe data that kuna missing value somewhere, hii kitu haingefika 100%. It could maybe sitting here at 90 something percent. And again, even if you hover your cursor, you can see 0% error, 0% empty, right? So that is also something that you could be looking. Ukiwa na Power BI, you just, before you finish transforming that data, check to see that easy the lines are full or they are red. If they are red, there's an issue. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is that. So we'll stick with that for data cleaning. And just remember that if you want to look at other things, you could just come here and say, remove duplicates. If there are data that has errors, just click remove errors, provided you know what you're doing. Keep top rows, keep bottom rows, keep duplicates, keep errors, you know, hizo. Yeah, if you click on this specific data, you can change its data type, right? If you right click again, you could click on that specific column and say maybe replace values. So replace values. So you tell it which value do you want to find? What do you want to replace it with? And then click on OK, cancel. So for example, if I come here to Albany, which is the side of region, I right click and say replace values. And then you ask it, it's asking you, what value do you want to find? I want to find Albany. What value do I want to replace it with? I want to replace it with Kenya. And then I click on OK. You can see Albany imekuwa changed. But I don't want it that way. Let me remove that. There's also another thing that you may want to do. And that is part of data transformation. That is splitting. Let me check something here, but it should be, there's a way for splitting that should be somewhere up here. Yeah, split column. So you can see sometimes you have this column and you want to split it. I want to see one that makes sense to split. Okay, anyway, let's say we want to split this one, your date. So I want to split it so that I have dates iko one column, months iko on one column, year iko also on another column, right? So I could right click and split ilikuwanga hapa, unless this new version ili change. Yeah, it was changed so that it just appears up here. There's a previous version that I had. The ones that you downloaded is an updated one, and that's why it has here in your Copilot. Hiyo ya AI, this one that is appearing up there. Yeah, split was always somewhere here, but it's not there. Okay, so we could use its split here. All these other functionalities that we have here, you could also find them huku juu. You just need to investigate a little bit so that you find them. So right click this one, or maybe click on this one and say split column. And then it is going to ask you by delimiter. Delimiter can either be a comma, what else? Semicolon, it could be, this is slash, right? Do you want to split it by number of characters? Do you want to split it by position? Do you want to split it by lowercase to uppercase? By digit to non-digit, by non-digit to digit? So let's say you want to split it by delimiter, because that is what we have here. If you say number of characters, itakuwa mbaya. I mean, we need to be more specific when we have number of characters. So let's say by delimiter, because that is what is separating these values. So let's say by delimiter, and then Power BI, it has identified for us the delimiter that is separating our values. See near this one, yeah, slash, right? So we can say, so select or enter delimiter, and then we have entered this. So this one. Unless we had like an equal sign, we can click equal sign, but we don't have an equal sign here. So we say custom, then hyphen, not really hyphen, but the stroke, right? So it is asking us split at leftmost delimiter. If we say leftmost delimiter, it is going to split only this 12, 12, 12, 11, 11. Then it will remain with 27 stroke 2015 sitting in one column. If you say rightmost delimiter, then it will split year itakuwa kwa one column, but month and date and month is going to remain in another column. If you say each occurrence of the delimiter, then 12 itakuwa in one column, 27 will be another column, 2015 will be in another column. Then you click on OK. So if you say OK, you can see here date 1, date 2, date 3. So we'll split that column. If you've been able to do that, thumbs up. If you're struggling, thumbs down or unmute. So there's nobody who's having any issue. Yeah, okay. But then, yes, Brian Otieno. Brian, you could unmute and ask a question.
The process of splitting, I think it got frozen a bit, so I was left behind.
Okay. So let me, I'll not do this same process that I did. We'll maybe split by, let's change this data type and click it back. So, wait, okay, split column by delimiter. Yeah, so we go back to where we were. So I can click on that nini, on that column that I want to split, and then let me say split column. Right now I want to use it by delimiter because we have like that slash. So I say by delimiter. Are you there, Brian? At this point here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this time, last time we were saying each occurrence of the delimiter. Let me click leftmost delimiter and say OK. So leftmost delimiter. Before that, you can select or enter the delimiter. So if our data ilikuwa na equal sign hapa ndio tunataka kutumia, we select it and say equal sign. If our data is separated by semicolon, we use that. If it's separated by a space, we use that. If it's separated by comma, right? But now our data is separated by a slash, but then the slash haiko hapa kwa the list. So we say custom. So under custom, you can type anything. Maybe data is separated by this kind of bracket, or data is separated by this curly bracket, or our data is separated by what? By maybe even a question mark. Yeah. So that is what we call now the custom. Custom is the one that you define. So let me say, let us split it by leftmost delimiter and click on OK. So if you say leftmost delimiter, you can see the date, the month are separated, and then date na year imebaki. Are you together, Brian?
Yes, proceed.
Yeah, okay. So we don't want it to be split. I was just mentioning to you what could be done there. So I can click and go back to where I was. So here we are at date. So there's quite a lot that you can do with that. And those ones can be talked about as we proceed. But now, once we are satisfied, yes, Francis, you're on mute.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for instance, now we have split those columns.
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, now we had data that had the day, the month, and year on different columns. So from the example that you have done on splitting, can you like expound if we were supposed to merge the dates together as a whole, one column named date?
We merge them back.
Yes.
Yeah, that is possible. Yeah, sometimes it's going to take a while, but that is possible through this one. There's merge columns. So not happen.
Okay. Yes.
So once we have split it, you will come and select this column, click on Control, and then select the three of them that we had, right? And come here and say merge columns, and then it will ask you some questions. So let's write new column and say, okay, merge the column. So do you want to have a separator for those columns? Maybe yes, we want to have a separator. Maybe let's say we want to have equal sign be separating the data that you merge. So once that happens, we just click here on OK. So let's see. You can see the data that we have now.
Yeah.
Are we together, Francis?
Yes, we are together.
Yeah. So because we included functionality here that equal sign to be the separator between the columns. Now you can see how it is appearing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You can meet. Okay. Yeah. So then we don't want it merged. Let us just click that so that we have the columns that we had. Are we together with the merging and also splitting? Everybody. Yeah. So there was what we were calling as extract, transform, and then load. So what we've done extraction, we've done transforming, right? We've cleaned our data, and then now we need to load. So when you need to load, go to this place written close and apply. We are here at close and apply. So once you're there, you can just check and see. There's apply, then there's close, but then there's close and apply. So let us just click close and apply. So you give it time so that it does what it does. So it's loading data to data model. Is it mine that is slow? Yenyu is, it's done. Have you been able to load? If you have been able to load, then we are at this point. Now it's telling us, yeah, I'm seeing Stella, Hillary, Charles, yeah, it's Hudson, and I believe everybody else. Who is behind? There's somebody called Marianne Akinyi. Is Marianne Akinyi? Is Marianne Akinyi here? You had a question when you were working on. Do you have Marianne? Marianne dropped.
Tuko pamoja.
Oh.
We are together.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, now we are no longer seeing that get data wherever. We are being told to build visuals with our data sasa. There is also something that you need to do. Kindly save your document because power ikienda off, ikirudi, ama maybe you accidentally close this nini, right? Ukirudi hautaipata. So go here and say save. Click save, right? Then it's telling you find a location that you want to save this one. Of course, the recent locations are those ones, but I could want to click more options. So find more locations to save your file in the file menu. Let me say more locations and browse this device. There's this part here, browse this device, so that I find where I want to save that data. Browse this device. I don't want to save it in Bounty Analytica. Maybe I want to save it in desktop and say, call it maybe Power BI webinar. Call it Power BI webinar. Yeah, and then say save. So my Nini last saved at, you can see here last saved at 11:55 a.m. You know what happens when you don't save documents, or maybe when you don't save files. So when I'm done building maybe one visual EV, you click on save. Done doing something, you click on save. Even. Yeah. So once you're here, you can also see this thing called page one. You may want to rename it and maybe say, maybe call it dashboard, or maybe call it analysis, or maybe call it summary, call it executive summary, whatever you want to call it, or maybe call it my first dashboard. You can call it my first dashboard. So the name that you want to give it, you could say it's still up to you to determine, right? Another thing that you may want to do is, let me check if we are able to see it here, but it's not here. I'm not seeing it, but I think I'll be able to get it once. Okay, let's just start building. Okay, so let's build our visuals now. I think I'll get whatever it is that I'm looking for. Let's build our visuals. You're here. You've named your dashboard at your dashboard. So my first dashboard, you've named that. Then now we can build visuals. Before that, you could see. You can click on this part, which is table view. You could also click on. I'm seeing Kennedy Mugo laughing. Yeah, Kennedy, it's an effect of somewhere. I grew in somewhere in the US. That is called Auckland. So those people from Auckland, that is the problems that they do have. And then, so we have here a DAX view. We have here the report view. We have here table view. But I'm seeing a question that I go back to where I am. You want me to go back to US, or you want me to go back to Nini? You want me to go back to what we've been doing, Stella? Kwa hizo view. Okay. Yeah, so there's this part, your view, which is report view. There's here table view. There's here model view. There's here DAX. DAX was not there initially, so it's there. So here is where you're going to be seeing your report. Here is where you're going to be seeing the data that you have. So here we have avocado data. Kama tungekuwa na other data sets, zingekuwa listed mpaka hapa, right? Then here we have model view. If you had other data sets, zingekuwa linked. I could probably tell you that before we end, modeling, like how to link different data, because unaweza kuwa na this data, it should be linked to another data, linked to another data, and all that. But let's save it so that let's build the dashboard. So if you are here at table view, you can see your data. I hope you're able to. We are there. Thumbs up if you're there. If not, we'll find the best cut to lift you up where you are. I've seen quite a number of hands up. So let's go to report view, or before that. Okay, what I always do is huwa naangalia I use both Excel and Power BI, so I check what the kind of data that I have. Of course, one of the things I did is to delete this one. So these are the data sets that I have. So from this, what do you think somebody wants to see? Yeah. Which kind of analysis maybe we want to do? Yeah, if you are the data analyst here, what are some of the things that you may want to do here? I'm seeing Francis, your hand is up, but before I come back to you, let me give somebody that hasn't attempted to even speak, and that is Onyango. There's somebody called Onyango. Onyango Josephine. Onyango Josephine, if you have that data set, what are some of the things that you may want to see, to analyze? Onyango Josephine. If Onyango Josephine is not ready, let me go to Swiss Tony's. Swiss. Swiss is not, if you're speaking, you're on mute. There's Solomon Tongai. Solomon, kindly don't be the third person to not speak. And so, Solomon is also, if you're also not able to speak, you can just be typing. Ian Sure. Ian?
Yes, I'm on the right track.
Yeah, the question is, if we were to analyze this data, because we want to build a visual, what are some of the things that you may want to see? We want to build our visual now.
Okay, you should consider things about how you want to visualize it, and maybe like in this data, you should consider, let's see, the average production with the, let's say, the region. This is the region where, so you should visualize where the region, okay, which region has the average price of these types of.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is average price by region. Okay, thank you, Ian. Somebody else? Your hand was up, Francis.
I'll go with the total volume of sales maybe per each year.
Okay, you may want to see sales by year. Yeah, total sales by year. Okay, that's it. Now let me now guide you on this. I closed my view, my report view, my filters, and maybe my visualizations. Let me click visualizations. So first, we may want to maybe put a text box here and just tell people what my dashboard is about. So there's this thing called text box. Can you click on text box? So when you click on text box, you're able to see this. So here you can type your text. So we want to say that this is avocado analysis. Maybe let me call it analysis for lack of a better term. Analysis, yeah, and then just resize this one. But then you can see it's very minute. Kama umeandika yako pia hivi, it's very minute, right? But the same way you edit things in Word, you can also edit it here. And maybe say hii inafaa ikuwe size, maybe size 20. If size 20 is not big enough for you, you could say size 24. Do you want to make it bold? Probably yes. Do you want to give it a different color? You can come here and say, click on this drop down and maybe select avocado inakuwa green. You will come here and select a color that you want, but then there is also this part of more colors, and then they click this part of green and maybe hover around this one and see which type of color do you want. You want maybe this green. So once we are there, you can see avocado though imepotea. Let's resize this one this way and bring it there. And maybe say, I don't want to see that unique thing that is, let me, yeah, now this one. Are we together? Kama uko hapo, thumbs up.
Kindly go back.
Yeah, anybody else? When I feel left behind. Okay, so
Yeah, Boniface.
okay.
Just go back a bit. Yeah.
Let me delete this. Remove. So there's home. Then there's this part called text box. So add a text box to your report. So you click on it. So once you're here, give your page a name. Yeah, you can give it executive summary. So executive. There's executive summary, but for me, I want to give it avocado analysis. Full stop. Are we there, Charles and Stella?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, hii kitu ni ndogo sana, like somebody might not see it. So I can come here. For me to do those edits that I did, I first have to highlight this highlight this text, mpaka hapo. And then come and say, maybe I don't want it to be called Segoe UIE because it sounds Sugoi-ish. You don't want people coming from Sugoi. Anyway, you want to maybe use Times New Roman, or maybe you want to use Kandara. You want to use Consolus, that is Constantia, and any other one that you want. There's also a one that is popular, Arial. There's also Calibri, that is very popular. There's also DYN, DIN, that is also popular. So maybe I want it to be Tahoma, right? I'm seeing Eric Wahungu saying that don't use Sugoi. Okay, and then so you might need to choose the specific one that you want, right? So I've picked Tahoma, and then another thing that I want to change is the size, the font size. Font size is hapa it's 10, but I want it to be bold enough for people to see, huge enough. So maybe avocado analysis, and then I want to make it maybe bold. Probably I want it to be in italic. So naona ni kama iko bent forward, but for this case I don't want it to be that. Probably you want it to be underlined. Maybe I don't want it to be underlined in my case. I want to give it a color. Let me check now the color. So the font color menu. I talked about avocado being green. By default, you can see here it is black. So if I choose maybe this color, unaona hapo color imechange. If I choose, you can see there, if I choose maybe this color, you can see color imechange. But if I want to that green one, there's this part for more colors. Because green is not appearing here, so I want more colors. So where is the part that is green? This part is more yellowish, so green is somewhere here. So which variation of green do I want? Probably I want maybe, because this one is very light, maybe I want this dark green at this side. Si ndio? Maybe color ya avocado inakwanga hivi, right? If that is too green for me, maybe I bring it back a little bit and put it there. Are we together? Tihamwe Stella.
Yeah.
Okay. Charles tuko pamoja eh? Yeah. Okay. So then now you can resize weke hii kitu instead of it being this huge, you could now have it there and then drag this one so that it becomes avocado analysis. There are some who might prefer this avocado analysis to cover this whole part. So you could give it maybe even 60. And then now we drag this one. Then say this is avocado analysis. And then, but then this one is very awkward, right? This is very awkward, so I'll give it maybe. Let me just go back to the 20, or let me add it a little bit to 20. Wait, 28. And then resize this one to this point, this one to this one. Then say, drag it here. Here yope iko sawa. Yes. Okay. There's something that I wanted here, and I've not really seen it, unless I've forgotten where it is. It's been changed. Okay, anyway, we'll get it because it's the settings. Yeah, so avocado analysis, and then this is now our whatever, our heading. So what do we want to see? So when you click here, visuals, and of course there's data, we can open up this one and click on this drop down and see what we want. So what do we want? There's things called, there are some things that are called filters. So filters enables us to just move within our data very easily, right? But in this side, we call it slicers. So there's this thing called slicer. Can you pull up a slicer and just click on? If you click on slicer, you can see here, it comes, right? So slicer, I mean, you want to put that slicer up here. So what slicer do I want? Maybe I want a slicer for this one, part year date. When you click date, initially date ilikuwa hivi, right? Sunday, September 6, 2015. Yeah, hivi ndo iko. This is our date. If I come to this nini, here, there's a date na nimewekea what we call date hierarchy. So I may want to click date hierarchy and maybe select all of them. So let me say I've selected a slicer, and let me select date hierarchy and just select all of them so that you see what is happening. Now, I think there it is, 2015. So if I click 2015 Apple, there's quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. If I click under quarter 3, there's January, February, right? January, February. When I click under January, February, there is now the dates. So probably I don't want to see quarter 1 or quarter, I don't want to see this one at quarters. So let me remove quarters, right? Probably I don't want to see what else. There's quarters. Then probably I don't want to see what. Let me see year. Do I want to not see year? Yeah, maybe I don't want to see year. I just want to see the dates, right? I don't want to see year, so that I just see month and date. Yeah, or let me bring it just back. So you see, this is what we call a slicer, but now it doesn't look very interesting. So you right click it and go to this part where it is format visual, so that we format this. So I want to format the slicer settings. So you click here on slicer settings, and then it is telling me it is in vertical list. Maybe I don't want it in vertical list. I want it in drop down. So if you want it in drop down, then it is this way. So 2015, 2015, 2016. Yeah, but that is a little confusing. Let me remove this one here. Yeah, let me remove here. So let me go back to my data, and then you can see, let me remove year first, so that we remain with month and date. Month, day, and that. Okay. So this is now this is a slicer. Still not okay because of something. I don't want this date hierarchy. Because there's a kind of date that I want us to have. Let me click on date. Yeah, there's a kind of date. Yes, I wanted it this way. So instead of clicking on the date hierarchy, click on date. So go back and remove it so that you click on date. So once we are here on date, it's telling us Sunday, January 15th. But then I want to go to the date setting, the slicer setting, and click, and I want to click between. Click between. This one here between. So once I click here between, you can see these things. So you are able to select. We are able to select a specific date or maybe a certain range. I want to see a range of data between first. This is first. This is 4th of January 2015. So I want to see maybe from 13th to maybe. So this is the start date. This is the end date, and then click to maybe I want to see only information from. Then you move this down and up. Use this down and up arrows, and maybe I want to see from 13th of January to 31st of October 2016. So you can see how that is moving out, right? There's more edits that you want to do to this one. But before that, is there any question or somebody is lagging behind? If you selected date hierarchy, don't select date hierarchy, select date. Are we together? If you haven't done slicer settings, you come here to, you can click on that slicer and then come here on slicer settings. Then there's options. What is the style that you want to use? I want to use a vertical list. If you use a vertical list, it is going to appear this way. If you use between, it is going to appear. You can select a range of data that you want or date that you want. If you click before, then you can see it's only selecting for you maybe 25th, what. So you can say I want to see data before Monday, that is 5th March. So you will see all that data, right? If you want to see after, this side is the one that is going to be selected. So you want to see data maybe after 21st of March, right? There's also another one, relative date drop down. There's drop down that we talked about here, which is now you can select only one specific date. Another thing is relative date, relative time. I mean, all those ones. But you want us to use between. Are we together? Let me see if we are together. Stella, are you together?
Yeah, we're together.
Kimayo, I just showed you how to create a date filter.
Oh, I'm missing the part of slicer setting.
Yeah.
I can't find it over my end. Like.
Yeah. So if you click here, let me see. Are you having this thing called visualizations here? This one.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
When you click your slicer, there's this part where you build visuals, but then there's this part where you format your visuals. Have you seen it? Kimayo. Kimayo, you're on mute. But if you have seen this one, then you click here, slicer settings. You can click there and then come to options. And then probably, so this one can also help you to move easily. This one, your slide.
I can't see slicer setting after highlighting, like.
So see, once you highlight, sometimes I think you are here, but if you're not, if you are at this point, click.
I'm in the generals. Yeah, I'm there.
You are here.
Yes.
So there's general, then there's visual. Are you seeing that? So you're here at visual, right?
I'm at visual, sure.
Are you seeing slicer settings?
No, I can see style, preset, grid, values.
Wait.
Those are...
I don't know whether you've selected, but yeah. So if you just try to check this one and then click there on Nini, go to, if you're on general or visual, or you've clicked on these other ones, go to visual and then you be on slicer settings, so that you also just move a little bit quickly. Another thing that you may want to set here, maybe you don't want this slider, so you can see here, you check, you click slider, so it's off. Something else that you may want to do you may want to give this one a title. But if you look, there's this date. That date is slicer header. You may want to remove it. That is if you want to, slicer header. But you can give your nini a title. So if you don't want that slicer header, you remove it and then come to title and click it on. Put it on and then click on this drop down and give it a title and say, this is a date filter. This is a date filter. Date filter. You see? And another thing that you may want to do is somebody's trying to speak, but yeah, so if another thing, you may see these values in ndogondogo, right? So what you come is here under, you click on that visual, then come to this section, your format, then there's this part, your values. So if you see here, the value size is 9. The type is Segoe UI, so you can increase the size of your values. You can see if I increase, values increase in size. These ones, they are 9/14, right? Until ifike up to where we are, 19. But that is too big. I may want to just keep it at maybe 12, right? Yeah, this tight. So I also close that one, close the values. I come back to title. You can also see it's size 14, but maybe I want it to be size maybe 15. So the more you increase it, the more it increases, right? So maybe let's put it at 15. You see there, then you're this point, and then you're this. So that is slicer. So the biggest work when it comes to Power BI, it's always like formatting your visuals. Another thing that you may want to format is maybe the background of this date filter, the background of the title, right? So once we are here at title, you could go to somewhere, there's text color. If you want to give it maybe a different color, you could pick, and maybe you want to give it green. You want to make it bold? Yes, maybe you want to make it bold. Do you want to have a background for this title? You click here on background, and then maybe you want if you want a dark background which doesn't look interesting. If you want this background, you may want to have that. If you want this, you may want to have that. If you want this gray, you may have it. If you want it to be just white, you can have it. If you want it to be a different color, maybe which one? So if you settle with this, it makes sense to you, then that is okay. Once that is done, you may also want to give these values maybe different color or something. You will also just follow through and go to under these values. If you want a background for them, and maybe give them this kind of background. If it looks very cutesy and whatever, you can just have it that way. But if you don't want background, you can just maybe just have it as white, right? Values, if you want to give them a certain color, if you want a color like this one, you can see values are changing color, but that one doesn't look really interesting. Wait, what have I done? What color? Yeah, let me give it dark, yeah, black, right? Up to that point. Another thing that you may want to do is to come here to general, and then there's prop. So if you look at this, you can see we have sharp corners. If we want to make it maybe have rounded size, that is rounded corners. It's always somewhere here under effects. Then there is, do you want a background for your nini? Probably no or yes. Let's see, if you want a background, I give it this one. You can see background may change, but it's looking very funny. Let's just give it to white. Transparency of your background, you can also control it. But if I gave it this green, I can control transparency using this one. Now you can see the color is fading away, but I don't want, I just want maybe the white one. Something else that you may want is rounded borders. So if you have this one, right, you just click still on your slicer and then go to effects, and then come here to, wait, it's under effects, and then come here to visual border. You check it equal on. So once it is on, you can say you want rounded corners. Then you can drag here and maybe say I want it to be at 10 pixels. So you can see ours have a round corner. Date filter now has a round corner. If you want to have a shadow, you just come back to this slicer, not really slicer settings, general, come to effects and come to shadow and say on. So you can see now our slicer has a shadow, right? You can also control the direction where that shadow is going. This one I was just telling you for slicers before you now go to real analysis. Those effects you can learn them now as you move forward. Now, where do you want the position of this shadow? And you can even say you want to give that shadow a certain color. If I put this one, you can see the green color. Where do you want the offset to be? Do you want it to be inside or outside? Maybe you want it to be inside. It doesn't look very demure. Where do you want this shadow to be going? Maybe top right. Unaona shadow iko huko juu. If you want it bottom right, you can see where it is. If you want the shadow to be at the right, you can see where it is. And you want the shadow to be top, you can see how it's appearing. But I like the shadow being bottom right. Yeah, in most cases, but no, bottom left, sorry. That is what I always use. General effects and then shadow, then you say bottom right. Hapa hakuna mambo na bottom up. Now, there we are. Now we have built our first visual. Anybody who is not with me? Yes? Can we have the recorded to visit later? Yes, you'll revisit. You'll have this recorded. You still have the line for date selection. If you're there, you go to here and say slider. So I believe this is what you're talking about. There's a certain line here. If I have slider, this is. So you put it off. Yes, any question? That is a slicer. What is the difference between the two slicers? Slicer and slicer new. Where is that one for slicer new? No, I haven't used this one before. Yeah, this has come with this new one, but let me just check. Use Jatumia here, drag to populate. Maybe let's build something else. We'll talk about it as we move. I'll check it as we go because I want us to build a card. So there's this date tushafanya, right? Somebody's microphone is on. I don't know if it's Nani. Kimayo, you could mute. Are we together, by the way? Ama imekuwa Kyoto complex? Yeah, James. Emily. Vanilla, are we together? Hillary, Eric, Ongoro. Somebody to tell Kimayo to mute. And Kimayo. Okay, Kimayo is muted. So number one, so there is a date filter that can help us to select to see various performances between different dates. So I've just edited for you one slicer. You may need to do other slicers and then edit them. Now we want to know the total volume that we sold. So we will pull what we call a card. There's card new here. I'm seeing a card new. There's always you pull this card. So we call them card visuals. So you could click on card. It gets you there, and then we have this thing called total volume. We could drag total volume there. Instead of dragging, you could also just, once you've pulled the card visual or clicked the card visual, you just click on total volume. So we want to see the total volume that we sold. right? Sometimes even without doing that, let me delete it. You can just drag Nini total volume to this place. Now you can see how it is, right? Venye imekaa. But this one, of course, we don't want. Yeah, the card that I want is this one. Click this card. This one. Click this card, not card new. So click this one. So we change it to total volume that we've needed. I'm not going to edit this one because it's going to take us time. I just want to edit, nearly edit it to this one so that you know how to even do what you call editing. So here you can see it. We are being told it is sum of total volume. Maybe I don't want that sum of total volume. I can just go back and say category label, I put it off. And then I come to general and give it a name, turn this one on and give it a name and call it total sales. Total sales, right? You can see total sales. I'm not going to edit maybe the size and everything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but the only thing I may want to edit is this one, 12.26 billion. If it's a small number, okay, let me click it and go to call out value. Once you are here at call out value, you can see here at value decimals. But before that, there is display units. So maybe you don't want it to be displayed in 12.26 billion. You want it to be displayed in thousands. So if it's in thousands, this is, if it's in thousands, you can drag it. This is like 12,263,808.85K. Of course, it's difficult to understand. But let me say you say none. If you say none, then it writes the whole value. 12,263,808,844.04. So you see this one takes a lot of space. That's why we could say, let us have it just in billions so that it becomes 12.26 billion. So you can reduce the size. Are we together up to that point? Are we together on how to edit those values? Yeah. That is okay. So I'm not editing the visual, just another reminder because I've done the editing with this, so you could do that again by yourself. So 12.6. So what is the essence of a slicer? Valentine, I'm seeing your hand is up.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
In this value, there is this statement that is saying sum of total value. I have not seen how you've removed yours from the card.
Oh, okay. So what I've done is I was here. There's this part here, category label. So if I turn it on, you can see it is telling me sum of total volume. If I remove it, it's going out. I think that is answered, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so there's that. So why do we need a slicer? So suppose I want to see sales between, now let's go back to date yetu zilianza na lini? Zilianza around hapa 4th January 2015. So that means that total sales tangu tuanze, why it came 12.6 billion was because slicer ilikuwa hapa na we had sliced for only a certain date. So I want to see sales from 4th of January or maybe just in January of that year. Yeah, January of that year. So we could, instead of using this, I can click upper. You can see it's in month February. You can even click this one. Wait, should be able to click. Okay, anyway, let's move now with, yeah. So let's move with this and go to 2015 and then click January and then pick the date and 31st. So it's telling me that in January, we sold 0.32 billion. Are you able to do that? In January, we sold, so you can pick between certain dates. We sold 0.32 billion in that nini. So once I don't want that, I could just go back and maybe click and say I want to go to mpaka mwisho where we were at 2018. I don't know where we were in 2018, but yeah, let's say maybe it was ending in March. Oh, it wasn't ending in March. So yeah, it's ending in 25th. So you click that one. So we have sold 15.52 billion. Another question could be, our data had type, right? Our data had type. So I don't know what type was. So you go back to your data and say, oh, type of avocado. You could click here on this drop down next type, and then you see you can organic and conventional. Organic and conventional. So somebody wants to see what is the proportion of sales by type. Ni pesa ngapi tumeuza za conventional, pesa ngapi tumeuza za maybe organic, right? Then I could pull this pie chart and say pie chart. So I have pie chart here. So once I have pie chart here, then you come to this part of visualization, right? So what do you think are the values that we need to bring here? I want to see sales by type. Which variables should I pull into this chart? Somebody to mention. I mean, that is a very simple thing, just to jog our mind and see that we are together. What should I drag from this part of my data? Nafaa ku drag nini nilete hapa? Yes? Haya. Mariwa, what am I supposed to be dragging? No, this is Mariwa Nani, not Valentine. Mariwa. So we have two Valentines. Valentine Mariwa, Valentine Mariwa. Mariwa with the picture yako ni ya huyo mwenye anaongea.
Gosh, Boniface, I have no idea. I'm still following.
Okay. Anybody else? Kennedy Mugo. Kennedy Mugo.
Ask a question.
What am I supposed to visualize here? Of course, I had given you what I'm supposed to visualize, but what am I supposed to pull from this part? I want to see sales by type. Yes? Matthew Nduva.
Type.
Yes, Matthew.
Can you hear me?
Very well. Yeah, we can hear you very well.
You need the type, I guess.
Yeah, of course. So what we want to, so there's this part labeled values, then there's this part labeled legend. So under values, we want to bring total volume. This one that was talking about sum of volumes. You can see here it is 15.52 billion, but then it doesn't tell us much at this point. So we want to see that type. So we want to subdivide those pie charts by type. So here type, we pull it to the legend. Now you can see ya kwamba if I enlarge it, of course it shouldn't be enlarged this way. You can see that we are selling mostly conventional, and then organic is actually covering 2.81%. This other one is 97.19%. Anybody is not at that point, I know I'm going to say.
Boniface, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you determine what to use on legend and values?
Okay. So under legend, you'll be having categorical data. So tuseme categorical data ni kama, if you talk about gender, we have male, female, and prefer not to say so. Or maybe if you are crazy enough, you'll introduce those other types. Or if you go to maybe a data like region, you could be having different regions in Kenya, counties like Murima, the central, not really central, it's not a county, but Kirinyaga, you'll find those Nini, go to different counties, 47. So that is a categorical data type. You'll bring it to a legend. Under values, you'll bring the numeric data type, right? Are you together, Kennedy?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So there we are. So if you look at this, it still also needs to be edited, but there's something that I want to tell you. If I click this, you go to this, go to details label. Details label is on. If I put it off, you can see that I'm not seeing details. So you need to, it always needs to be on. Then label contents. What are the contents that you want to see? Maybe you want to see all labels. So all labels tell you this part is conventional, this part is organic, right? So once I have all these details, then probably I do not need this type. This is the legend, the key. So if I don't want the key, then I come to, I click this on your legend, right? So that it's off, so that I only have these values. So details label, you could also come to values and increase the size. You can see the details is increasing in size. Color, maybe you want to give it black, and also display units. I talked about display units, but one thing that I want to talk about is percent, this percentage decimals. You can see this is 97.19, this is 2.81. If you want maybe the decimals to be in 0, then it's 97%, this one is 3%. If you want the decimals to be 1, 97.2, 2.8. So that is under details. That is what I wanted. Legend, you remember I put it on and off, right? Slices, you choose this, you can choose specific color for this one. If you want this color to be the green that we are talking about, it becomes green. If you want this one to be this way, it becomes that one, right? Or you want it to be this blue, you have that one, right? Are we together? Who is lagging behind? Because you want to also visualize another thing. So you could arrange this one and see to it that maybe it sits at some point like this one. Who is lagging behind? Yeah, so that's it. Another thing that you may want to see now, we've seen, we have not edited the title. You could go back and say sales by, so automatically inakuwekenga nini, but you could say sales by sales by type. Sorry, sales by type. Are we together? And then another thing, is it sales by type or volume by type? Volume by type, sorry. Volume by type. Volume by type. Which again, even this one you can give it a different color. Under the title, you could change hizi venye tuliweka mpaka, right? Something else that you may want to see, so that one we've built using a pie chart. Maybe you want to see, I'm seeing here large bags, small bags. I'm also seeing what else can we see here? Here, by this one here, we may have wanted them to be, let me see the year, some of here, no, not that one. Okay, so we have small bags, total bags, then we have, we even have region, by the way. So we may want to see volume by region. So with that, I'm not going to use this. Let's use maybe this one like a clustered column chart. So bring in clustered column chart. On the base, the x-axis, you can see there's x-axis, there's y-axis, right? There's legend. So I want us just to bring region kwa x-axis, right? So once I pull that, you can see there's nothing until we bring in a value for y-axis, which is maybe, I don't want to use total volume, but let me say I want to see the number of small bags that were sold by region. So I come here and click small bags. I put it qua y-axis. So if I enlarge this, there are different regions here like Albany, Louisville, Syracuse, Spokane, wherever, New Orleans, I'm seeing Baltimore, Los Angeles, there's a total US. There's total sales equal US, that is a total US. Which may be, and then there's California, West, South Central. Yeah, there's that. But let me say, I've done that analysis, but I want this one to be divided by maybe type. So I want to visualize it by type also. That is where I'm going to use this part called legend and bring type. So once I bring type and enlarge it, you can see the blue one is conventional, the dark one is organic. So kuna conventional and kuna organic up you can see, right? The others are maybe small, you cannot see them unless we do what? Unless we add a component here. We come back to editing and say data labels to yeke on. So when I put data labels to be on, you can see that total US for small bags, which are conventional, was 1.18 billion. And then there's that one which is 0.06 billion. So there's that label that is on per commission. Of course, this is small. This is like we have so many regions that might not be appropriate to be visualized by this, right? Yeah, so analysis also depends on what is very appropriate to be seen by, yeah. So, but I'm just explaining to you the different types of visuals that you could use there. Another thing that you may want to see, maybe you want to see what? Tell me something else that you may want to see. And if you are together, thumbs up.
Sorry. Question.
Yes.
When you choose that particular visual, how did you just kindly take me back how you were able to input the fields, like what went into which axis?
Okay.
I lost you.
Are you seeing this part? Are you at this point? When I click
Yes,
on
yes.
this, you're here where you can drag this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kuna x-axis region, kuna y-axis small, sum of small bags, right? Let me remove that. So what I did was, and there's also legend here where we have type. So you are here, right?
Yes.
So what you do is, under x-axis, I want to see the regions. I pull it there. Sindio?
Yeah.
Under y-axis, I wanted to see the small bags. Well, let me say even large bags. Y-axis. Unaona y-axis venye ziko hapo, sindio?
Yes.
But now, there's also something else that we can see. What is the additional thing that we can see is these totals that we have here, it's a combination of both the type, both the conventional and the organic. Sindio?
Yes.
So that now there is where this legend comes in, where you have the legend and we can bring in type and pull it there. So you can see different, yeah, you understand? Yeah. So all these things, then you can go back and edit the heading. You can even edit these things that appear here. You can edit quite a number of things. Anybody? Sorry. Anybody with a question? Emmanuel?
No, I'm saying I'm actually good. You can proceed.
Oh, okay. That's it. That is on. Okay. Something I was asking a question. Any other thing that you may want to visualize? Anybody with an idea?
You can visualize revenue from each type of avocado.
Yeah, I'm seeing here we have average price. So I don't know whether this average price was by bags. That is this. That is the question that I'm asking myself. There's that description that is sent in the group. Let me see if I remember it. Yeah, I downloaded this just today from Kaggle. What was it saying? The description was saying, type conventional organic year, the year, region, the city or region of the observation, total volume, total number of avocados sold, 40, 46 was total number of avocados with PLU, 40, 46, total number of what else do we have here? Average price of a single avocado. Okay. Yeah, so that is average price of a single avocado. Now, if you want, so I don't know whether you total bags. Oh, so we have total volume. So total volume means total number of avocados with PLU. Now, so how do we get the total revenue? There is where we are going to talk about what we call DAX, because we need to multiply average price by maybe total number of avocados. Yeah. Is it true? So let's
Yes.
yeah. So let's check here something called there's here called new measure. You're seeing this part called the new measure. Click on new measure because we don't have total revenue. So click here on new measure. Once you've done that, once you've clicked on new measure, you'll see something. You'll see here it's called measure. But now we may want to change the name and call it revenue. Total revenue. So total revenue will be equaling to what? So total revenue, how do we get it? We say total volume times average price. So let's say we call it total, how do we get an average? Is it product? Yeah, product, sorry. So the formula to use is called product, right? So product, what do we multiply? It returns the product of a given column X. The product of a given column, but we wanted to have avocado total volume. Mining is not working. Okay. Product avocado total volume, and then what is the DAX function for multiplication? Because I'm not getting. It should be product or what? Let me try to remember that. Or search something here. To multiply, yeah. So, yeah, because it should be X, total revenue to be equaling to avocado. Yeah, it's not getting us this. I want somebody to try total volume. Yeah, it's not also appearing here. I want this linear to appear so that you multiply by, I don't know whether it's on my visual. Can you try typing this column total volume and see if it's bringing for you, or maybe just try typing avocado, see ya kwamba kama inakuletea nini, inakuletea the name of that nini, the name of the data that you're using. Because I don't think if it's product X, it returns the product of an expression values. Okay, let me check something. Calculate. So calculate avocado. Wait. Okay, let's work on something else as I try to remember what we are supposed to use on this other side. It's either calculate, multiply, or product, but I'm not seeing if it's giving me the correct value that I want, which is very unfortunate. Calculate, because calculate is also not working. So that we have total volume, which is not coming. Now, let's work on something else, and then I try to remember what is going to be done there. Before we finish, I will have figured it out. Yeah. Yes. I'm seeing a hand is up. Or if somebody has figured it out. Yes, Valentine.
You use product, then it will showcase.
Then no, the product that I was using is multiplying one nini. It's multiplying one, which is why I was wondering why it was not working, but it's supposed to be product or multiply. Okay.
What if you use product alone without product X?
So what we were saying, it was total revenue. Why is this thing missing? So total revenue is equaling to product. This is the one we used initially. So product volume, right? But then we need to multiply it by another column, which is why if you multiply it and say maybe by average price, it's not bringing for us ENNE. It's not bringing for us. Let me see if it's this mistake that I'm making. Avocado. Yeah, it's not coming out.
Boniface.
Yes. Unless I'm making.
And what if we try sum X?
We are supposed to multiply, not summation.
Like sum X, it multiplies on
yeah,
the row and the column, then at the end it gives the sum of their products.
Okay, so let's say sum X avocado data. Then you say comma. What is the expression? Avocado data, yeah, could work, by the way. This one times what? Avocado data, total volume, yeah, price, average price. Yeah, let's see if this one brings us the value that you're working with. And so once you're done, you can click here on OK, this tick to commit. Total, yeah, sum X works. Thanks, Lewis. Yeah, wasn't remembering that we have sum X, but was focused on product. So we sold like a total of 15.52 billion, but then the total 15.52 billion avocados, but then the total that it brought for us was 16.93. Then the prices must be very low. Let me check on the prices that we have. Where's the average price? Yeah, so we have average price of 1. Yeah, the average prices are very low. 0.99, 1 point. So if you multiply by total bags, the total volume, yeah, the prices are very low. 6.64236 times 1.33 is very, yeah, it's going to give us a low value. I thought like it's going to be very huge. Yeah, but it's 16.93. That is if our workings are correct, which I believe should be. Yeah, so there is that total which you use, yeah, sum X, which is more of like product. So I was looking at it as product X, which was not working. So there is what we call in Excel sum product. We looked at it with some students, recently. So sum product, it come to Power BI sum X. So this is an example of a DAX language or a DAX function. Just to repeat what we did, if we say here sum X, there's sum and there's a sum X. I'll tell you the difference. So sum X, then you mention the table. What is the table that you're working with? You're working with the table called avocado data. Then you put a comma. Then what is the expression that you want? You want to multiply the total volume by the average price. So you write there, if you start typing total volume, total, it will come, italeta hapa so that you have total volume. And then multiplication sign is the asterisk. Do you have the asterisk on your side? Do you have the asterisk? Yeah, there's an asterisk. Yeah, so asterisk, and then you type again that other expression that you want, which is you want to multiply it by average price. So here is the average price. You can start by typing the name of the column, or you can start by typing again avocado, so that once you have avocado here, you can just scroll na uone kwamba we are here at average price. And then once you're done, you click on enter, or you click on this. So of course it will tell us kwamba we had already calculated that. So tufai kuicalculate tena. Yeah, so we have total revenue that is there. So hizi ni values zenye you can put now on this other side. So you can see here there is total revenue, unaweza toa hiyo, so that we don't have this category level, so that we also have on, and then we have total revenue. Something that I want to also tell you is sometimes maybe somebody does not know what this total revenue is. I mean, somebody might not know what this total revenue is, so unaweza wapea explanation. How do you give an explanation? So we go back to that measure that we had, and then hapa mwisho you ensure that the cursor is moving, then click finya shift and enter so that you create a new line. If you click only enter, it will commit this expression that we've written. So you click on shift enter, and then / weke mbili, and then you say maybe this is an expression to calculate for us the total revenue from the total revenue from the avocado, sales. I wrote avocado sales. Then you can just full stop. So this one is not going to affect our code. This is commenting now in DAX. Click enter. It will not affect the code. Are we together on that? Thumbs up if you're together. Emily, Charles, Ian, nani ameachwa nyuma on that, writing that nini. Anyway, it's 1, but I might need to tell you maybe some few things here for some few minutes. For those who feel it's 1 and then they want to drop out, yes, you can drop, but those who want to maybe stay and tell you a few things so that we know how to just organize this, even this table. We haven't filled it with visuals yet. Yes, Emmanuel.
Boniface, I have a question.
Yes.
But a bit unrelated. So I'm looking at this Excel, the actual Excel that you're using, the avocado.
This one?
Yes, this one. So now, assuming you're receiving this data maybe from the Ministry of Agriculture, and they send you on a yearly basis in the same format. Now, assuming now you've received new data in this same format, and I want to update the same visuals that you've actually created and not create new visuals, how will we go about it?
Yeah, remind me that before we step out. That is where you could get data from You can get data from folder. So you can create a folder where you will be getting that data, so that once a new one gets in, you drop it there, you just refresh. It cannot be on a yearly basis. There is even one that you just get on a daily basis. For example, for me, I always get some data on daily basis, so I don't need to be creating visuals every day. So I create a template, and then I have that data pointed to Power BI points to a certain folder. So once I get data, maybe if it's in the morning, I download, paste it there, come here, refresh, vitu ziko sawa. Is that, yeah. So this one you could resize it and maybe bring it up to this point. I don't know how you want to resize it. Yeah, but that is something. Thanks Chris, for total revenue. So that is one DAX expression that you've written. Another thing, Valentine.
I have a question. In that sum X formula,
Yeah.
which name are we using to refer to the? Is it the name of the Excel sheet or the name of this file that you are using currently?
It's the name of this file. See, kama hapa si tuko kwa avocado data, hapa tu ndo natumia this one. This one is what you use. Then we got total revenue. I have here total revenue is equal to sum X avocado data. Si inakaa kama hii avocado data. Valentine. Are we together, Valentine?
Sorry, I lost you.
Sorry? Hello? Okay. But you use the name of this, the how you've named it in your Power BI. Something else. Once we have this total revenue, volume by type, sum of large by region. So you could even maybe want to see sales by what? You may want to see maybe even say total revenue by total revenue by what? Total revenue by region. Yeah, you can also have region. This data has few categoricals. That's why I'm struggling to find one. But now let's use maybe a data like we use this thing called donut chart. Donut chart is just similar to pie chart. So donut chart, you can click on it and just see what is happening. So donut chart, it's similar to what we had for pie chart. So you just say total revenue, bring it up a values, and then on the legend, you may want to see what is the total revenue by type. And you can see Nini imeleta 0.68 billion. This one called conventional, 0.6, no, not conventional, organic, 0.68. Total volume ilikuwa imeleta ni 0.44. Multiplied by pricing, it gets a 0.68. Organic ilikuwa imeleta 16.25 billion out of 15 point. Yeah. So once you get this, maybe you want to arrange it in a certain way. You want to arrange it to cover that part, right? Any other thing that you may need to build, you may want to see. Yeah, there's quite a lot that you may want to. If you want to see data in what in a table format, there's also even a table here. So table, you click there and have wait. Yeah, so we've turned that thing to what we had. We've turned it to a table. Yeah, but once you select it, you could even turn it to something else, like even this one. You could see how it changes, so that you can see it in Evo. Once you're there, you can change it to not a card, by the way, because card will only get as the total revenue. Let's go back to the table that we had, and then you see conventional illetera 16, this amount, organic illetera that amount. You're seeing 0.87. You could also edit it so that it doesn't appear in points. So we used donut, yeah. So donut is what we use. That is called a donut chart. Any other, the last thing that I want to do, because for you to just know the kind of visuals that you can build here, it was really not supposed to be too in-depth, so that we also don't take much time, because this one requires a lot. What is another thing that you may want to see? This data is not rich enough for us to be able to, yeah, but let me tell you also one last expression that you may want to DAX expression. So we've created a measure here, which you can see total revenue, and measures, you can see them by this thing that looks like a phone or something. So let's maybe create another one. So we used SUMX. We could also even use just even SUM. So you click new measure. Yeah. Copilot could help you. Now we don't want Copilot still. You could just relax a little bit. So we want a new no, not a quick measure. You click on new measure, sorry. And then maybe what do you want to find? So we want to count the number of regions that we have. So suppose we want to know the number of regions that we have. Si ndio? Hizi regions zinakaa mingi mingi. So number of unique regions. Unique regions. So once we want to do this, we want to know how many regions are there, then we are going to use something that is called distinct count. So we could use count, but if you use count, it's going to be not correct. Okay, let's say count and then say region. So we've used count and then you close that bracket and say enter. So once we've counted, so unique regions, let me just pull it in and say, we don't want it this way, we pick a card. So it's telling us that we have 18,000 unique regions. Do we have 18,000 unique regions, really? Do you think we have 18,000 unique regions? If you think it's true, you could say yes. If you think it's not true, you can say no. Kennedy Muko is saying no. Anakataa. So why? Because we just counted. Actually, 18,000 could be the number of rows that we have. Let me pull it mpaka hapa. Yeah, you see, we have 18,250. But so that means it counted 1, 2, 3, evil. That is a count. That is a DAX language for, or maybe expression for counting. But now we may want unique regions. So let's go back to our expression. Click here unique, and then instead of count, we use what we call distinct count. Distinct count. So distinct count. Avocado data region, and then control enter. And not really, you can just click enter. I used to control enter kwa programs zingine. Yeah, so you see we have 54 unique regions. Hii kitu ni kubwa sana, it might not need to take all that space, it can be left for something else. So that is part of just reorganizing your nini. You could put it maybe somewhere here and give it a title, call it unique regions. Are we together? Kuna distinct count, kuna expression ya even create a date, which you could use with something called calculate. Then take in their start and end date. Yeah. These are maybe some of the things that you could look at with this data. If you want data in table form, I think I've talked about that. You could pull in a data and then say, maybe in that data, what do you want to see? You want to see unique regions in terms of no, but that is the sum. We can't get that. We want to see the region. Yeah. So the region, you can see Albany, Atlanta, wherever, etc. And then we may want to see total revenue that they brought. You just drag it here kwa columns. Yeah. You can see San Francisco ilileta this 185, 334. Yeah. Then we have maybe Baltimore, Washington brought in something. Another thing that you may want to see, maybe total volume. What is the total volume That is the total number of avocados zenye tulikuwa tumeuza hapo, right? Or that it generated. So I don't want total revenue to appear first. I want total volume ndo ianze, then we go to. So what I can do is just to drag this one hapo. So sum of total volume appears and then total revenue comes down, right? So you can see now this is a table that we have. So region, sum of total volume, total revenue. Then that is the table that we have. You can even maybe see some of the number of small bags that it has. You can bring total bags, not really total bags, but we have large bags here. Some. What else? Maybe X large bags. So zile ni X double XL. Let me pull it there, but then reorganize it and say this one needs to be there. And then so we start small bags, large bags, X large bags. So this is what you have. So that is the data that now you can present in terms of a table. Are we together? I think I'll stop there with the visuals and just tell you how to reorganize this nini, how to play around with the view of your dashboard. We are together, right? So that we stop by 13:30. We don't go past that. Something else that you might need to know is size your dashboard. This size might be maybe small, unaweza taka maybe ikuwe kubwa. So without clicking on any visual, because if you click on any visual you won't find it, you can click outside kwa hizi dotted lines so that no visual is selected, or you click in any open space where there is no visual. So if you are here, click maybe outside here and then come to format your report page. If you come here, you may want to have a certain size. So if you click here on canvas settings, you may want it to be 4:3. This one, ratio of 4:3. You see our visuals ziko. So this is something that you can do as you start your analysis, not when you're done. Maybe 4:3 ni mbaya. Later unaona venye inakaa. Maybe tooltip, unaona venye tooltip inakaa. If you want it 16:9, the one that you are working with. But now 16:9 is automatically 720 px una width ni 1280. But you can set your own. Come to customs and maybe say I want this width height to be 800 and I want this width to be 1400. So you see there's more space for you. You could even maybe say I want it to be 16,000. So you see how the width ni kubwa. So if you have more information, you can maybe put it there. Valentine, I'm seeing your hand is up.
I just wanted to ask that you are a bit experienced than maybe most of us. Which resolutions maybe have you used when maybe you're presenting data to people through maybe PowerPoint or something? Which are the best?
Under this part.
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, what I always use depends on the number of information that I may want to display huku juu, because in most cases you'll find me putting the cards and maybe filters zinakaa hapa juu. So I want to maximize on this top space to be for visuals, for these cards like these ones, these total sales, more or less like the summaries that we do have. So 16.3, even this unique region, I will want to put it maybe somewhere here, right? And then this part, I leave it for either table, I leave it for nothing about numbers appearing on this other side. I leave it for those other visuals that we are talking about. So it depends. If I have too much information, I might need to increase this height, this width of mine. And the one that I frequently use is always 800 to 1400. In my ukienda hapa, I always set this one 800 to 1400. But the instances where I use 800 to 1600, I've never used the default one. Inakaanga ndogo for me sana. So it always depends on the amount of information that you want to place. Kama hii yetu ni very small, like haina too much information, I could just use 16 to 9. Just this one is enough. Unaelewa? So it depends on how voluminous is your nini, how big is the data. You could find you're working with not just one data here. You could link it to maybe you have 10 tables of data. This one is not going to be enough for you because to display information because that contains too much information. It might need you to maybe add the size a little bit. But of course, the good thing is not everything you're going to build in this one dashboard. You'll click it and maybe add another page. You'll click add another page. You'll add another page to visualize something else. But the key thing is size will always depend on the amount of information that you're going to be displaying there. So that one is on the size. You could also look at vertical alignment. You want them to be aligned on top or middle. If you click middle, you will see even that upper line now is appearing. That is that. If you want canvas background, you may want to change the color of your Canva background. You can see here the color is white. Canva background, I may want to give it a color of, if I give it green, of course it won't really be making sense. So once I give it there, then there's transparency. So I've clicked green, but then nothing has changed. But if I reduce this transparency, you can see now kuna hiyo green is appearing on the background. So you can even maybe, if I pull this a little bit, now you can see green imejaa on the background, right? If I go back and re-edit this, I could maybe, so you can reduce the transparency. Now unaona hiyo looks a little bit interesting. You go back to that, so it's that way. Otherwise, you could also want to have maybe a wallpaper. A wallpaper here. Maybe there's no, I don't want my professional picture to be there. Maybe do I have anything? So think of this was my wallpaper. I mean, it doesn't look very interesting, but now you see it's on the background. You can also reduce its transparency so that it appears that way. So you have something on the background. If you want to see it sana, let me change this one. There's this volume by type that we are working with. Let me go back and edit it a little bit and say general, and then there's effects, and then there's background. If I click here, yeah, of course. So the background transparency is 0%. If I put transparency to be 100, you can see data yangu now is, you're seeing this, right? So it doesn't have a background. Unless I reduce it this way, you can see now the background. But if I have it at 100%, it's completely white. And in most cases, I don't work with my visuals zikiwa hivi. Always I have them completely at 100% or maybe 88 hapo, so that I'm able to see the wallpaper that I have behind. Similar to these ones, and now edit them. Sometimes once you've done an edit on one, you can click on it and click Format Painter. Once you click on Format Painter, you can see that brush, come and pour it there. And then you see, it may change. So instead of, even this one nilikuwa nimefanya, so that you don't go back and edit one, edit two, go to edit something, you can edit one and finish with it, and then Format Painter and click on this one. So you see what happens, right? It copies. So you have even that rounded nini. Are we together? Thumbs up if you're good. James Nderitu is Franz Mai. Yeah. So that is what happens with that. So you are able to. So when now your boss asks you, okay, what are our sales by blah blah blah, you can pull that visual, do it very fast, and show him, okay, how many sales have we had between this certain period? Can come to this slicer and I'll say, okay, let me add one more slicer of type. Those categorical data, you may want to have as many slicers as possible. Let me click here and bring in a slicer. Once I bring that, I want to bring type so that nikuwe na type hapa. Yeah, so something like this. So if boss asks you like sales by maybe a certain by organic, you could just click on organic and then it will 0.44. If you click on conventional, information ya conventional ndo inaapia hapa chini, right? That is now why Power BI is very interactive. If I click on organic, you can see there are changes that are happening this side. If I click on conventional, you can see the changes. So this one also, this slicer also, you can put it somewhere here, all right? Yeah, but these ones you just reduce their sizes EV so that it occupies as small space as possible. Pick that one, bring it up there, pick these other ones, and then you're done. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? I want us to stop at that point. Oh, there's a question, Emmanuel, you asked. How to nini? For you to connect, you could come here and say, connect this one. Yes, Humphrey. Was it Humphrey or Emmanuel who asked? But yeah. Yes, Humphrey. You have a question? If you are swinging a background on a muted mic. Okay, if not, then we have this. We have if you want to be just refreshing, yeah, instead of building visuals every now and then, you could pull that data from a folder. You can create a folder and click on this one called folder. Yeah, once you're in that folder, click on connect, and then it will take you to a specific folder that you want. So what is the folder path? You go and browse and maybe select a certain path that you want. Maybe I want what? I'm on desktop, but I do not want desktop. Let me go to the PC and maybe select maybe and maybe say Boniface, KRA, Gemini. No, I don't want these ones. Bandy, Carbon, Corel, Client Work. Maybe let me say it's coming from those Carbon creations. So browse and then click on OK. So I want to be getting data from a certain folder there. Yeah. Now that might need me to open a new Power BI, right? So right now, because there is no any data there, so that's why like there's nothing appearing here. But I might need to pull this data and put it in a certain folder, and then now open a new Power BI and then get data from that folder and then combine it. The same process that we did. So once you copy and paste the data there, and then come here and refresh, there's a place for refreshing. This is the place for refreshing. You just click here, refresh, and then you can see avocado data, whatever, and then you can see things refreshing up here. You can see vitu zinafanya kurefresh. Yeah, that is if we could have pulled this data from a folder. Now once it stops, now everything has been refreshed. Yes, Emmanuel.
Yes, Boniface, thank you. So I'm just curious. So in that folder, assuming now like we have the Excel, the avocado data, and then now I get a new Excel avocado data 2. Do I copy avocado data 2 I just come and append on this first Excel, or I can just have several Excels in that particular folder.
You can have several files, but the caveat is like it has to be the same in terms of column, right? Yeah, the columns has to be the same. See ya kwamba one has columns 12, ingine has 3 columns, and the column names has to be the same. Are we together?
So even if I have 10 niongeze 11 but ni same format, it will just come and check alafu ione kuna hii mpya.
Let me show you something here for what I'm working. If I show you this, are you seeing these files?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mpaka I don't know ni ngapi. They are same files. I have put Power BI and I've put the folder here. Then there's one of the reports that I've built that points to this folder, right? Delete. Yeah, it points to this folder. So every day I receive this data on a daily basis. You can see today, no, leo sikupata. Yeah, because yesterday was a holiday. But you can see here it was 11th was 1st of November, 31st of October, 29th of October. There's also another one, 29th of October at 1 a.m., 27th, whatever, right? Are you seeing that?
Yes.
So it's a data that I'm receiving on a daily basis. So for me not to be creating data sets or maybe reports every morning, building visuals again, I just build mara moja and then kazi yangu itakuwa ni refresh, or I will always just be updating. It's similar to maybe this data, what you call it, beauty, one, blah, blah, blah. It's also the same. Even today, you can see today at 7:24 a.m., I pull the data into this part. Yeah. And yeah. Unaelewa nani Emmanuel?
Yes, maybe just a final one, a follow-up on whatever you're explaining. So, a scenario where mtu anakutumia PBIX file.
Yeah, PBIX file.
Yeah, and this data, maybe they have it on SharePoint somewhere else, the one which they use to create this PBX file. And then they ask you to update the visuals. So they share with you the Excel separately, let's say on mail. Again, if I have the PBX file, I extract the table, niweke kwa folder, then this new Excel nakuja niweka pia kwa the same folder. I change the file path.
Yeah, you can change the file path. There's a part called source. There's this part that is called source. Let me see. Where is it? There's something in Itanga source. Let me see. No, you go to what you call query editor. It should be somewhere. Let me check it here. But there's something that is called query editor. If you are able to see it, you may just let me know. But there should be somewhere called query editor where you're able to edit that where you're able to edit that that table so that we see the source. Let me check it and let you know. Yeah, but it should be somewhere here where you're able to edit that where you're able to edit a query. There's part called source. I'm looking for it before we finish, where you can now try to change the source of that the source of your data. Is it okay, Nani? Emmanuel? Because if you try to edit it without changing the source, itakwambia na kwamba this thing is not found. Is not found on your PC, right? Yeah, you could try changing that. Yeah, Valentine, I'm seeing your hand is up. Oh, but let me see. Edit. Yeah, you come here. Sorry? Yes, Valentine. Yeah. But there's this part called edit query.
I just had then I ask.
Okay. Yeah, there's this part where you can edit query. so that it takes you back to your Power Query editor. Yes. Are you seeing this part called source?
Yes.
Yeah. Try. So hii inaniambia kwamba what is the source of my file? Users, HP documents, nini, blah, blah, open as work. So you can try changing that source. But it comes, so once you're done, you close and apply. Is it okay?
Yes.
Our data does not have maybe longitudes and latitudes. Tungeitumia kuonyesha how to create a map. So ingekuwa na longitude and latitudes, we create a map using it. If it doesn't have longitude and latitude, we cannot create. Valentine, you had a question. So maybe this time, let me answer a few questions here and there.
Supposing now that you have finished visualizing the data and now you want to put it in a place that is presentable, how do you go about that?
What do you mean by place that is presentable?
Like, let's say now you want to go and present the data visualization to maybe the boss or your team. How do you present it?
Okay. You can either present it this way, but there are so many things that we have not talked about. There is a drill down, there is drill up, there is all that and other visuals that we've not covered. So this was basically to give you an explanation of what is done. Yes, but if you want to do that, you might need to maybe publish first your data, right? Or if you don't want to publish, you'll be maybe taking screenshots here and pasting it kwa PPT, so that you tell them this is what we've done and this is not what maybe the sales we've had. But let me show you how to publish first. Go to home. You must ensure that maybe you are logged into an account. If you don't have an account, right? If you don't have an account, then it might be tricky. If you don't have an account, you'll be forced to maybe take screenshots here and paste it for the PPT and all that, do your writing and everything. But let's post it somewhere. So there's this publish, because I'm on this account of Kaskazi, that is work email. So you save, of course, your save your document, and once you've done that saving, now it will tell me where do I want to upload. I want to upload it to my workspace. So there's my workspace in maybe Power BI service. Actually, this is what we're calling now Power BI service. We're able to publish. So I want to select my workspace and select somebody's microphone there. Emmanuel, you could mute. Yeah, publishing to Power BI. So wait for it to publish. Wait for it to publish. So successful, right? So if I click here, open Power BI webinar .pbix, of course, is how Nini saves. So it's going to Power BI service. Let's see, and let's wait and see. Yeah, so once we are here, you can see it tells me I have 3 pages. If I go to my root Nini, you can see that nilikuwa nimeclick some pages here and there. So it's like if I go back, Lucy, kindly mute. If I go back, I have just a minute. Okay, yeah. If I go back, then I see the pages that you've created. So if I want to publish this one to an online to web, so that somebody is able to access that link, I can come here to File. Then there is a embedded report. So I come to embedded report, and then I say publish to web. So if I publish to web, then I say continue, blah, 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 continue. Do not publish. Yeah. Then I publish, and then say link you can send in an email, HTTPS. So this one I want to copy this link. So copy this link. And then maybe I say close. So I can share this link. Anyway, I'm not on my WhatsApp here. I could have shared it. But when you publish something, you just come here and then maybe publish to web. And then once that is done, you just copy this, and this link now you can share it with your boss or maybe somebody else. Let me paste it here. So when I paste it, you can see what is going to be happening. Yeah. So this is what anybody is going to be seeing. Don't mind about this body mass because it was that background tulikuwa tumeweka. So this is what somebody is going to be seeing. When they want to select something, they can click here and see what is contained in page 1. If there's nothing, they can come even what is contained in page 3, right? Or they can move around with these ones so that they get to this. Are we together, Valentine? Or no, everyone? Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So that is what is going to happen with publishing. So if you go to, so even if you check maybe my workspace, there are quite a number of maybe files that I've published, including so you could see this one, Ken Beauty report, Ken Beauty, where I'm combining data sets ngapi. There's a folder I have here, there's Ken Beauty, there's Ken Beauty expiring, there's also ACO report which mixes sales rep targets and also folder. There's one that is just straight ACO, there's one that is straight Unga Limited. It is which one, it tells you where I'm getting data. I'm getting data from a MySQL database, which is created by somebody called Ethos Tech Hub. There's Kappa Oils, we did a project for them. There's qualitative report that we built, and also there's another Kappa report, which was not now qualitative. Avocado, this is what we've built just right now. There's also another one called Clorox that we built some time in the past. So that is Power BI service. So Power BI service, with Power BI service, the same things that we've done there, you could do it here by just clicking create. Once I click create, then add data to start building, I could say maybe Excel preview, Excel CSV, could click this one, and then maybe it's telling me to connect to data source. Do you want a link to the file? I could click the same if it's on maybe this one is a SharePoint, or I want to upload data. Your account does not have sufficient license for OneDrive for business to complete. Yeah, so this account is free one. This account is a free version kind of that. Otherwise, I could copy the file path. If you come to something like this and maybe open this sample data, if I click on it, let me see if it, no, let me see if it's going to work. But if I click this one, the file path is CC users HTTP Kaskazi, and then I'll add this sample data. So I'll copy this path. Maybe let me just try it and see if it's going to work, and paste it here, and then add that backslash and say sample data. Yeah, there's a whole new Nini that we could talk about with this one, which is really, yeah, quite a lot. Create connection, data gateway. We could really, if I have a data gateway, there's also something that we need that is called data gateway. You're not signed in, please sign in. I don't know why I need to sign in, but there's all that information. Unable to create because of the account that I have. So this one is a free one that might need me to upgrade to the Power BI Pro. So this one is a free one. That's why it's limiting whatever it is that you want to do there. Yeah, but that is Power BI service for you. Unless there's any question, I may want to tell you what view is. With view, you can quickly change the layout of what you have here. Yeah, I've seen your hand, Bithi. Let me just tell you something. With view, you can change, maybe click this one. Let me remove this background first so that you see what is happening. If I go there and click Canva background, wallpaper, 3 penguin, then remove that one. And then I punguza this transparency, no, this transparency here. Let me check now if it's working. Accessible themes, yeah, but it has changed qua these values that we are having. Let me add this one. What you will see, let me try changing it with maybe this. If I click that soon, you can see some changes on even these colors and even the colors that we have here. So that is maybe a quick way to even change your. If I click on that other one, you could see colors are also changing here and even upper. Right? Yes, we are done. Bithi, let me hear your question.
My question is, I can see there is a lot to explore.
There is quite a lot.
And I think this session could not be enough. So when is the next class starting? Because I believe I missed the code that you said it's about to end. So when is the next one starting?
Yeah, we are thinking of having a course for that before this year ends, just to train on Power BI and Tableau, so that this one is a crash one.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe probably before in maybe 2 weeks' time, we should be making a decision. Maybe tomorrow with the other team members. We should have one in maybe 2 weeks' time. For those who may want to explore more about this, there's quite a lot that we haven't talked about. There's what we haven't talked about that is called connections here, which is something else. There are things that we've rushed. I've not even told you how to arrange this table, not really table, but this dashboard, because it looks it looks messy. We have not arranged it, right? We've not talked about what? We've not talked about DAX expressions in depth, right? We've also not talked about even Power BI service. I've just rushed through it because I've not told you how maybe you can edit. Once you've published, you could edit these tables ukiwa huko kwa Power BI service. So there's quite a number of things. We've not looked at a data set that shows us a map. There's also a decision tree that we've not looked at. We've not looked at this one that looks like a gauge. Inakuonyesha gari imebaki na fuel ngapi. We've not talked about something called buttons. There's a way in which instead of moving from nitoke hapa niende hapa kwa page 1, I click tena kwenda page 2, I click kwenda page 3, I can have a button here, buttons here, which if I click, it automatically takes me to page. I click, it takes me to page 3. I click, it takes me to page 4. Those are things that we have not looked at. We've not done things on bookmarks. So there's quite a number of things that I've not showed you how to create data ukiwa hapa kwa nini, how to enter data, right? We've not talked about how to create new column. There are measures for creating new column, right? So there's quite a lot that we've not talked about, because visual enough, this dashboard needs to really be cool and smart and not just how it looks. How do you connect to one lake data hub? So there's that. How do you do the refresh when you are on Power BI Power BI service? How do you create that gateway of refreshing? So there's a lot that we haven't covered, but can be covered if we have more time.
Boniface, I have a question.
Yes, the question is
So-
what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. So about the Power BI, it seems there is a lot we need to learn. We've not covered within the 3 hours. So how long can it take for now for us to be able to cover everything about Power BI?
Yeah.
I mean, not everything, but at least something. At least you'll be confident to use Power BI.
Within 2 weeks, we should be good.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
So is there a cost? How much is the cost? You'll decide. Then you let us know.
I am
interested.
I am not making decisions independently. I'm making it together with other people, but
Okay.
it will not be a lot. It should not be maybe if you people are many, it should not be more than maybe 3K. But if it's only
More
like this, anyway, we'll communicate in the group. Yes, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Boniface, sorry, just I'm seeing someone in the comment. I think it's Bithi Marian saying connecting with the live TV. So I was just curious. Again, if for instance we were requesting for the classes as you mentioned, learning Power BI, and then you take us through a sample project where we'll start from developing a database, connecting a database, all the way to updating it virtually. That whole process is something also which can take more time because now we have another whole aspect of the DBs.
So developing database using SQL.
Yes, SQL Server.
That one can take a while, but that one can take a while for you to learn because it will need us to learn first what SQL is and the SQL commands and all that. We could work with Nini. We could work with the data sets that we already have and also just pump in more for us to create those relationships and everything we were talking about. But I might show you what, because the databases that I have, the SQL databases, they are for other people, which I don't have their credentials for me to log in with. So database creation is also another thing that we might need maybe a course on itself for SQL, which goes very in depth. But we can have a class for us to maybe create a project from scratch where we now connect it to even a folder so that you're able to see even those things around refresh. But with the database, SQL, it might take us quite a while, maybe a month for us to first learn SQL. After learning SQL, then let us come now and learn Power BI, right? You see where I'm coming from, Hillary? Which we do. So that is another thing that we might need to organize. But let us first organize maybe something on Power BI or include. But we don't want to stretch into that period where people are having Christmas, and then you're still learning. Yeah.
Okay, Boniface, I don't know whether I can ask.
Yes.
Myself, I'm good in SQL.
Yeah.
So is there a possibility in that I can be able to connect a live database that is receiving data from maybe from the site that I have, and be analyzed directly on Power BI, maybe the interface, like live connection?
Yes, it can be connected. I don't want to show you this data, but this report that I have here, it is one that is connected to a database.
Yeah.
It's connected to a SQL database. So data ikiingia tu hapo, like saizi, even if I refresh it right now, it will pick data yenye imeingia maybe even a minute ago.
Okay.
You get it? Yeah. So this one I've built it. It has been connected to a SQL database. And I think I showed you when we were, let me just click Control-Shift-Z-T to open where I was, Control-Shift-T. So I was initially at this point, where my workspace. So you can see here, if you look at these ones, quantity, whatever, these ones are connected to a root, a folder that is just within my PC. But if you look at this one, because I've published it, yeah, you can see it's telling you MySQL, Unga Limited, ungalimited.ethostechhub.com. There's this one, MySQL. It has been connected to a SQL database. Okay.
Okay.
Any other question before we stop? Yeah, so there's quite something that we haven't covered here. Kwanza kuarrange nini, if I could have shown you maybe one of the database, the data reports that I've created, then ziko hapa. Let me see one that is no longer functional, so that you see yenye ilikuwa imeisha kitambo. Let me see if it's opening. But for this, I might need not to record.